We're live.
Nerds! Yeah, nerds! Listen, you got Band Geek over there, and then you got Theater Geek. Yes, I know there's a difference between geeks and nerds, and just lazy to remember right now. Whoa!
Whoa! Oh no, bro. That was supposed
Nerd!
to be a fall.
No! That's a nerd, you know that. Okay.
I don't know what I don't look at.
Okay.
Let's
Hello,
get nerdy.
Let's get ready to get nerdy. Welcome to our brand new show. It's new, but it's not new. It's a spin-off to the Horror Rumble. I think we've explained this. Those of you who have seen our shows before, regulars to the channel, we do a show called the Horror Rumble. Talks about mostly horror movies, but any horror topic. And this new one is now the Rumble, which we can hit every other genre but horror on this one. So, does that sound right?
Sounds
Help me
good
out,
to
Kory.
me.
Don't stare at me like I'm freaking Frankenstein.
No horror references. Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. So tonight, obviously, from the title, we're doing the Star Wars saga, and we're sticking to the main episodes 1 through 9, because if we went off into the depths of the Star Wars expanded universe, we would be here for 3 days, probably.
Oh, yeah.
What do you grin? Yeah. What is so funny?
I don't know. Jess, I will be right back. Something just exploded outside. I'm not.
It was probably a firework, Kory. It leaves me hanging. I'm having a good time. Not. Hi. Let's go to the chat and see what's going on there. We got our buddy Steak Sauce. He's got some new stuff going, new channel and stuff. Find him. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. Dan Schein in the chat, you'll be seeing his pretty face later, as usual. Our friend Sheeby Jeebies, 200 subs. Yes, we have reached that. Now, if we can only hold that. Exciting. Thanks for stopping by, Sam.
Sorry about that.
And
the fucking wackos are shooting fireworks off.
Well, I could have told you that. You didn't need to go running.
But I could see it through my son's bedroom door.
Ben Grimm. Good to see you, man. And Blu-rays, of course. Our animator here at Cable Channel 11 did that introduction, the intro, and, of course, our very good buddy Kory from S'mores and Doors. Sorry I can't be there. His ranking is starting from the least. Number 9, Last Jedi. 8, Rise of Skywalker. 7, Attack of the Clones. 6, The Force Awakens. 5, The Phantom Menace. 4, Return of the Jedi. 3, Revenge of the Sith. 2, Empire Strikes Back. And 1, New Hope. That is an interesting ranking. So hopefully we can touch on that. That is not exactly mine. Or I don't even know if close. I don't know if we match up much at all. But thanks for sharing that, Kory. I wish you could have been here too, man. And Dan Schein thinks the Ewok movies clearly are the best, but we aren't going to discuss them. Like we said, we'd be here all day. But yes, they are pretty good. I don't know. You threw me off there with your explosion.
Sorry, but I seen
we
it
lost
like
2
through
dozen
my son's bedroom door.
2 dozen viewers. It is the season for fireworks.
It is those fucking wacky loons. Anyway,
Axel05. Hello. Welcome. Not sure if I've seen you around these parts before, but welcome.
welcome. And hello to everybody that Jess was saying hi to when I took off. So,
all right. Well, without further ado, we are talking about Star Wars, Axel, and we're about ready to bring on our entrants to rumble about this saga. And I know they've been calling it the Skywalker saga lately, but I don't like that. It's the Star Wars saga. The main films are the Star Wars saga. So suck on that and bring folks on as you will, Mr. Kory. Give them their introductions.
alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and start with this guy here who has not been on in a while.
What up? How's it going?
What's up,
Orc.
Orc?
And the Orky bunch.
Yo.
Yeah, it's been a while. Welcome back.
Thanks. Happy to be here. Yep.
You
Star
ready to
Wars.
get nerdy, Orc?
Hell yeah, dude. Wait,
All right.
right there. Yeah. Good.
And our resident porn expert, Mr.
What's up,
Manshine.
guys?
Daniel
We're
Schein.
ranking the adult parodies tonight. I got my list. There's more of them than there are actual Star Wars movies, so
Well, that I believe that.
there is a fact. Us.
All right.
Chris, Dr. CZ's death.
What up?
Or horrors? Yes, that would be for Dan.
Yes,
Dan.
yes. Episode 69.
Oh, goodness sakes. All right. What else we got here?
Well, last, but at least for now, but certainly not least, we got Slaughterport.
Mr. Jake. This is the guy who honestly seemed the most excited about this episode.
I fucking love Star Wars, man. Hey,
Oh, man. I think you're chopping up.
There
a
he
little
goes.
bit. Catch
You
your
hear me?
signal. There it is.
Yep,
There we
gotcha.
are.
is it better? Oh. I love Star Wars, so I'm ready.
I'm with you. I love him too, and we'll get into how we came on our love with. Oh, okay.
Jess is definitely doing those parodies.
Wow, Mr. Bombastic Reviews. That's Jonathan. You can contact him. P.O. Box, care of.
Or if Jonathan had any balls, he'd come on here and rumble with everybody. Just saying.
There you go.
Good point.
Yeah.
And we will get into this, Axel 05. So do you guys think the prequels were overhated?
Absolutely.
I do. We'll get that when we get there. So stick around. All right.
Are we going worst to best tonight?
I thought Kory and I discussed this. I'm going with the release order. So I would assume a lot of you consider that best to worst, but you never know. Unless somebody, if you guys really want to rumble over which order we should go in, I figured we just go in the release order of the movies as we do any franchise.
Oh, okay. So then we rank them at the end. All right.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you can rank them. I'm gonna
Okay.
have a hard time ranking all 9 at once. I can usually rank the trilogies individually. I've at least got my favorite for each trilogy. Anyway, so without further ado, are we going to start with the original?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Star Wars, and retitled Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope later on. Okay. The original, 1977.
I don't remember the rave in that one, but it's an interesting deleted scene.
Deleted scenes. Got something there for everybody. Well, I'm going to go first, I guess. And shit, that's one thing I forgot to do is take my notes. But shouldn't be too hard with this franchise. I'm growing up, of course, and I was little in the 80s, but I was there mostly. Things I remember is like my brother had a small R2-D2 remote control robot in the 80s. I knew of Star Wars, knew of the names Yoda, May the Force be with you. But mostly it was like something if my dad had it on the TV. It didn't really catch my attention till 1997 when they re-released them in the special editions. And I went out and I thought, okay, I'm a teenager now. I'll give these a try. And I was blown away by this first movie. Even with its edits, and you could tell what was new. It was it looked great. They cleaned the film up itself. And yeah, man, I fell in love. It's freaking awesome, and couldn't wait for the next one, which of course blew me away even more. We'll get to that.
I can tell you that I'd seen the first 3 movies. My aunt was having a sleepover for all of her nephews, and that was the big thing. We were all going to sit down and watch all 3 Star Wars movies. Of course, back then in the 80s, there were only 3, so. But yeah, of course, we're all.
So you were
boys,
really
but,
little then?
Yeah, like, well, I was not real little. I was 7, maybe 8, but yeah, it was. You got a room full of boys watching, Star Wars. We all got rambunctious, and everybody thought that Luke was awesome and Han was awesome and Chewie was cool, and of course Leia had cooties, so
By Empire, you changed your tune.
oh yeah.
Now, like me, was there a time span then to where it was just like, yeah, that was cool, but you didn't really watch them again for years?
For me, yeah, after we watched the original trilogy, we actually watched that in one night, and then I didn't see him again for I don't know how long. I think one of them might have been played on, like, I think USA was doing a Star Wars marathon, or there was some cable channel that was doing a Star Wars marathon or something, and I caught him on there years later. But no, the original one, A New Hope, was cool as hell. I absolutely loved it.
All right.
Or
Anybody
what
else?
about you?
Yeah, first experiences with New Hope, with the original Star Wars.
Where did you say me?
Yeah.
First experiences. Well, when I was a little lad, I remember going to the theater for their first like re-releases that they did, where they added the scenes in, and then quite like a little bit after that, Phantom Menace. But I also remember watching episode 4 on a CBS Fox VHS that my dad had. And those are probably my earliest memories. And then collecting like the trading cards for Phantom Menace, but we'll get there.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
cool. 2-year-old Sam, she learned how to use a VCR watching New Hope over and over.
Nice,
And,
nice.
Ben, he first watched this on one of its many re-releases to theaters. They did every 5 years or so. Yeah. And like I said, that's where it was a re-release, the special editions where I could catch it. We didn't have it every 5 years, though, in theaters that I know of or in my area, but that's nothing surprising.
You'll probably get to the point where they could re-release it and it'll outgross any of the new movies at this point.
Yeah, even today, I don't know why they don't just re-release the original trilogy. They're so...
Yeah, and the original cuts, I think that's guaranteed money. But, so I'm more of a Star Trek guy, but I do love the original trilogy. The original, I guess, being... Not good at math here, guys. Episodes 4 through 7. Or
6.
4 through 6. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks. Like I said, not good at math. But more of a Trek guy, but still always loved that original trilogy, and it gets a little more complicated after that. And we'll get into it. I'm sure I'll piss a lot of people off today.
Beam me up, Danny.
There you go.
I enjoy Star Trek too, but now I'd say I'd have to... I'm more Star Wars than Star Trek.
That makes sense, Jess Graham.
And Jake.
New
First experiences on... Yeah.
New Hope. I can't remember which out of the original trilogy I seen first, but I do remember growing up, I had a friend, and we would, during the summer, we'd go to his grandparents' house because they had a pool, and we'd, swim while we could, and then they had the, guys remember the VHS box set for the original trilogy that came out?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had that, and that's where I was introduced to Star Wars in general. But, yeah, New Hope, I don't know, it's good, obviously. Sets everything up, and my favorite scene even as a kid is when they get in the trash compactor. That's a great scene.
I'm the cliche because I think the cantina always comes to mind if I'm talking.
It does. Yeah, who shot
scene.
first, right?
It wasn't even who shot. Han was the only one to shot. There was no shooting first. If you really want to get down to it. But the thing is, it didn't need that because Han knew he was going to shoot. Greedo was going to shoot. He just got the upper hand before he could. There was no need for an extra blaster blast. But yeah, I have my issues with the special editions, but there are definitely some changes I enjoyed. One of the ones that people surprisingly don't like to me is the adding of the Jabba scene. Because it was originally filmed, but, I thought that part's cool, and touching it up was cool. And then, of course, the obvious are not so cool, Entering Tatooine, or Mos Eisley. And the couple of the shots there were unnecessary, looks too obvious. But no, I liked them. I don't mind the special editions as much as some. I think it would be cool to include them. Computers untouched. I have the DVD that came with the original unaltered. The last time it was officially released.
So I'm curious, Jake, or not Jake, Dan or Orc, do you guys have a favorite scene from A New Hope?
New Hope. I don't know if I have a favorite scene because it's still kind of setting things up, but come back to me. Orc, what's your favorite scene in New Hope?
either Obi-Wan dying or like Luke getting saved at the end when Vader basically has him dead to rights. Yeah.
That's a good scene. I'd probably go with the Vader one out of the two there. It is amazing how we're still telling stories about people that were dead like very early in Star Wars, and that's kind of an issue. But yeah, those scenes were very powerful.
Yeah.
My favorite scene is not a powerful scene. I thought it was fucking hilarious when Han's chasing the stormtroopers and then he runs into the bigger group of them and then turns around and starts running back. I always like that one. So
Oh, you would, Kory. You
I
would.
would.
No, see, Picard wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have been a pussy. He would have taken him on.
But I was going into Tashi's station to pick up some power converters. Oh, sorry, didn't land it.
Okay, I
They
know
can't all be gold.
I know I said no horror talk tonight, but it's actually associated with this movie. So apparently, if you guys read Robert Englund's biography,
Yeah.
he actually says that Mark Hamill was sleeping on his couch and he told him to go and audition for this movie or whatever. And so he went and auditioned and ended up getting it. But he was sleeping on Robert Englund's couch before he got the role of Luke Skywalker. So
I know Englund, I think, was auditioning more for Solo, I believe. But can you imagine we had gotten like Robert Englund? We could have gotten like a welcome to primetime bitch to Vader. Like, that would have been awesome.
He is a brilliant actor, and I think there's so many more roles that Robert Englund could play.
hey, he got his sci-fi role.
V, yeah.
V, yeah. It was very popular. V is very popular. I think that made him really a name first before even Nightmare, didn't it, Dan?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That made he was known at that point because V was a sci-fi television phenomenon.
Well, and the guy was a complete working actor even before that. I mean, he was in one of the A Star Is Born with Barbra Streisand and Chris Christopherson. He played roles like that, so he was working for several years before he got really what gave him his name. But Star Wars. Any crazy thoughts on the first things? I mean, we try to avoid usually on this show, if you're just joining in, like things that are repeated almost every time about Star Wars. If you're a fan, you're coming here. There's not too much new under the sun. It's more about experiences, how you feel about the movies, what makes you. And I'm sure as we go on, we're gonna get more intense on who likes what better.
Oh yeah,
if at all.
I think it'll get there. This is the nice portion of the show.
I figured we get it out of the way. I mean,
everybody's just getting warmed up.
Most are agreeable on the original trilogy. Kory
I
did.
do have kind of a Star Wars adjacent story that I hadn't thought of. I'm a big fan of a zombie movie called Shockwaves that Peter Cushing actually shot right after this. And he was talking to the director, I believe it was, at one point, just making a casual comment. It's like, oh, yes, I just shot this space thing. I don't know that it's really going to do anything. And that just always like blew my mind. Like he was doing this Nazi zombie movie and had no idea that he was about to just make pop culture history, and people would probably be talking about him for hundreds of years after he dies.
Exactly.
I do have one more question for you guys. After seeing this, how many of you immediately went outside and picked up a stick and pretended it was your lightsaber?
Like that sounds like a personal question for you.
It was. I really got the full experience when I was, I want to say 16 or just turned 16. So, but yeah, I'll admit, you coming out of that, I don't know if I picked up a stick. You're definitely got lightsabers in mind, and driving in the car home like you're in So the first movie is probably like in the trench. You know, you're driving a TIE fighter or the Millennium Falcon. Or...
Yeah. Especially in the middle of winter when it's snowing.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to grow up after all this started, and you know, as we'll get to, the prequel's about to start, so merchandise was still flowing for this. So it wasn't very long after I'd seen them. I had gotten a Luke lightsaber from Return of the Jedi, the green one.
Okay.
So I had my own lightsaber. I didn't have to make a stick.
Well, I was poor, damn it, so we had to pick up sticks and use those.
Oh, it's not beyond me. I mean, I later owned a few lightsabers over the course of the prequel trilogy. You know, the harder plastic ones, because me and my friends and cousins, we'd beat the shit out of each other. We're adults at this point, or damn near, or at least technically. But you gotta.
Well, now you jump on Amazon and you can find them for like $100, $200, whatever. And like, I know my son has bought a couple that were $100+. So they're not the flimsy plastic ones.
They're awesome though.
At the new, I think it's called Galaxy Run. That might be right. I don't know. Whatever the Star Wars part is in Disney, you can build your own lightsaber there.
Yeah.
So,
Galaxy's Edge. Isn't it like $200 there?
It's expensive, but
yeah.
it'd be worth it because you even get to pick. Damn it. I forget the crystals that they put in.
Kyber crystals.
You even get to pick out your own Kyber crystal and put it in there. So.
Sorry, my son's a huge Star Wars nut, so he tells me all the crap that I don't care about. So the books and the TV shows and all the stuff that we're leaving out of this, he's sitting there telling me all this stuff about, well, this is why this is happening. It's not in the movie, so it doesn't count. So,
well, that's how. Yeah, talking to your son, not to get too far off, but he seems like Connor focuses more on the expanded universe than he does the actual movies. Because I've asked him about, like, I've given him movie trivia, and I'm like, how do you know so much about Star Wars outside of the movies? But I ask you a few basic questions about the original trilogy, even he's not sure. He's seen them, but not like...
Yeah, we actually took him to see the sequel trilogy, or at least two of them. But yeah, he is definitely more into the expanded stuff, so...
Well, Jake, you mentioned Kyber crystals, which triggered something. We were talking about favorite scenes. I guess before we move on to Empire, if you had a lightsaber, what would your Kyber crystal color be, or your lightsaber color be for the layperson? Kory, you want to start, and we'll go around the clock again. You guys can think.
What would be my what?
Lightsaber color. Mine would be green.
Well, I got Darth in front of my name, so I guess I'll go with red, but
I'd have a rainbow lightsaber, yeah.
You would, York.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Dan Schein?
I don't know, black, bigger than everybody else's.
Oh, wow. You got the dark saber happening.
Dark saber, man.
BLS, you know?
Fuck yeah, work.
And Jake, I guess, the other true Star Wars fan here, what would your...
I don't know. I guess I'd say blue. I'm always a fan of the basic blue.
I like it. Ooh, Sam from Sheeba Jeebies says purple or red lightsaber. Depends on her mood. Very cool. I do appreciate the purple lightsaber, and I have a comment about that later for one of the later movies.
And sorry you have to listen to my stupid jokes tonight, Sam. I apologize in advance because it brought joy to my heart.
Well, are we ready to move on to Empire?
Yeah. I think we pretty much covered.
All right. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. Right off the bat, I'm going to say my favorite Star Wars movie, and I think it's a lot of people. I went to the theater, like I said, in the late 90s. This is when I was really immersed in them for the first time. They were showing them like a month apart when the re-releases. You didn't have to wait like even a year. And so it was tough to wait that. And I go to this one, and I'm thinking, yeah, that first one was pretty cool. I get why people like Star Wars. And this one just fucking blew me away at the time. Yeah, I knew the twist. Luke, I am your father. Or, well, no, I am your father. But that didn't take away anything from me. And the build up to that was really cool to see from a fresh perspective, too, even knowing that. And it was like, wow, I can't believe, people didn't know this till the end of the second movie. 3 years difference. And just the whole movie aside from that was just great lightsaber fight for the first time, really enhanced that. The effects, the storyline, it was one thing after another, and it just keeps going, and it's full of excitement.
Just somewhere on this planet, somebody has a film of the original movie, and on that film, he says, "Luke, I am your father." This Mandela effect shit sucks.
No, they don't. That was Tommy Boy. You're probably thinking of him blowing into the fan.
Dude, I was doing that in the 80s. Long before Tommy Boy. So somewhere, somebody's got an original copy of this film, and he says, "Luke, I am your father."
I could say, because he has other sound edits that they've used for the different versions of the movies. George Lucas himself switched it up, even just simple lines with Aunt Beru. But nah, it goes back with the script. They were saying on set, no, Obi-Wan killed your father. So there was always the no, not Luke, I am your father. It was always no.
Bullshit. I call bullshit.
No this. Carry on, Ed. Let's hear about it.
I think George Lucas paid James Earl Jones a lot of money just to corroborate a story.
I'd have a hard time seeing James Earl Jones do that.
I don't. Anyway.
J.J. would never do that.
Orc, Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. Okay, yeah. It was a pretty good film, It's a lot of people's favorites, not mine. Not even close. Has snow in it, which I hate, and a lot of other things that I'm not really a fan of. So, yeah. Can we drop the F-bomb?
Yeah.
Okay. Snow, which I fucking hate. There we go. Right. Just check. 1, 2, 1.
Yeah. Oh, I get you.
Right, I agree with you. I have a hard time getting through that scene. So.
And I think, since the 90s at least, the Turner Networks, TBS, TNT, and then Spike used to show these movies all the time, too. So that was the one I'd enjoy the least when the original 3 were on all the time.
That's a bold statement, but I welcome one for this show.
Not saying it's bad. It's just
no, just your least favorite, the weakest of the 3.
Yeah,
originals. Cool. It's nice to have a different opinion, right or wrong.
Dan,
Empire Strikes Back is by far one of the greatest sequels ever made. It'll rank pretty high for me. Spoiler alert. I think some of the greatest moments from the father reveal, which obviously we're doing spoilers tonight. So good, in fact, that they rip it off later because they have no original ideas left. Well, like I said, we'll get into that as we go along in the series. But there's just so much going on. The action's great. The drama's great. It's a big step up from New Hope, which, again, I think fantastic movie, but it does what a sequel should do, and that's be better. And very few manage to do that. But Empire Strikes Back, to me, I don't want to give too much away, but near the height of Star Wars. And yeah, man, I think it has more iconic moments than any other movie that I can think of.
Your favorite's when she kisses Luke, isn't it?
That's pretty hot, and I think it sort of like led to the porn trends of today. She never got stuck though, but yeah, and I'd have to say, Jabba the Hutt, man, for a fellow fat, got all the pretty ladies around him. I respect his game. Yeah.
All right, well, Jake. I'm sorry. Did you have something else you wanted to add?
No, I'm glad you cut me off.
I killed Jess Graham.
So yeah, this is majority probably everybody's favorite. It's not my favorite, but if you had to ask me like what's the best Star Wars movie, I would say this one.
But it's not your favorite.
It's not my favorite, but I think it's the best.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now, Dan, you were just saying though it's not your favorite either. Though it ranks up.
No,
there, but it might not be your number one.
I'm just leaving it a mystery. I'll just say it ranks very high.
Okay, I'm curious.
Well, trying to keep people
more than
in suspense, but here's a question for you guys. Jabba, he was having sex with the slave girls, right? This is a lot.
No.
Yeah, he was. How was he not?
How does he?
How do you know he isn't packing down there?
Where?
No idea.
The big slug.
They may have to get up in there, but I had this argument. I don't know if it was tied or
kind of like it comes out. It comes out. Sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah. He was banged.
Where?
Kory.
I mean, he might have the
done with impressions tonight.
He might have the tongue game going, but I don't know about anything else.
I don't think he's about giving pleasure. I don't know. I don't get that vibe. I think Jabba's a very selfish lover, personally.
He probably is. So I never really thought about it.
How we got on this conversation?
I'm pretty sure he just nuts and then rolls over, and that's just the end of it. Your pleasure be damned. Star Wars is bad that they're making like entire shows based on like Jabba's harem now. It's very odd to me, but
that is, I didn't even know about that. Jake, I'm sorry. True. Continue on. I didn't know we
the Rosario Dawson
go down that path. Oh my God.
Where are we at? What are we doing?
Empire.
Empire.
Not the Queensryche album. The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Hello, Andrew. I'll get to your stuff. Go, Jake.
I mean, from what everybody else said, get the reveal. We're not going to talk about how shocked I was when Vader cuts Luke's hand off.
Oh, yeah.
Got everything. Han gets frozen in the carbonite. It's really good. I like it. A lot of good. Probably is one of the most quotable out of all these movies.
For the record, I just want to point this out, Jake. You reminded me when Han gets just before he gets frozen in the carbonite, when Leia says, "I love you."
I know.
I know that line is so fucking good. I used it on my wife for
best line ever.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's the cream of the crop of Star Wars movies.
Well, I think out of all the endings of all of them, this one like left you wanting so much more, left you wanting more. You were so excited. I mean, it felt great. The whole movie felt great. It didn't leave me like, oh my God, what, that sucked of an ending. No, it was a great ending, and I just could not wait till Return of the Jedi. And I'm so glad I didn't have to wait 3 years when I watched it. So, but probably the best, like, leaving you wanting more Star Wars movie too. You just couldn't wait for the next one. Oh God, I hope we didn't lose Jake permanently.
We didn't either.
He couldn't take the Jabba imagery in his head. I get it.
Well,
Right.
Andrew in the chat, smash the
What
like.
up,
Thank you.
Andrew?
Thank you. Welcome. He said, every single line has been re-recorded in that scene. Yeah, I did know that, but a lot of folks might not. Yep. Despecialized supposedly has the original line, and it's "No, I am your father." I think that is the line, though. That's in the.
I was just playing devil's advocate, just trying to get somebody going.
Any version, I think they've left that.
You better go to the clip, I think, to settle out.
Yeah, and it's. That's Chris. It's not the first time George Lucas lied. Han shot first. Yeah, you're right. As far as not the first time he's lied about like his timelines, his dialogues, and things. Yeah,
Which is true.
Almost all of Vader's dialogue in the special edition is like from '94 or something. That I didn't know. So that is interesting, Andrew. Are you talking about Salacious Crumb? Do I even put up your... No, I don't, Dan. Except Sam Salacious Crumb. That was great.
Salacious Crumb used to be an Ewok until he started doing the bath salts. Just ruined him.
And it came from Dan, of course. That must have sparked that in Sam there.
Dan, resident pervert.
All right. Any other final thoughts on Empire before we get to the last of the original trilogy?
Masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoa. Let's not get carried away, guys. Great movie in the Star Wars saga, but you say masterpiece like it's better than Empire. So, but Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi. And I got all the original theatrical release posters. I think they've all done so many different posters over time, and there's some good ones. Return of the Jedi, what can I say? I guess it. So I followed this one up. I was so excited, and it didn't quite maybe meet my expectations, but it's still an awesome movie. My favorite part of Return of the Jedi is honestly the first half, the opening on Tatooine with Jabba in his palace. And yeah, that's probably my favorite part of it. It's hard to say too much about this original trilogy that it just hasn't been said a million times over by everybody. But go on. Kory.
I thought it was cool that Luke showed up in all black. See, good guys do wear black.
As a Jedi?
Yeah.
They do. Well, it just sparked in my head that the Tatooine they filmed for Return of the Jedi was actually in Arizona, or the border of California and Arizona, the Imperial Dunes, I think is what they're actually called, which is interesting. And every time I drive from LA to Arizona, when my parents had a place there, I would drive past that desert, those dunes, and it'd be like, it was so cool because it's like, there's Tatooine. So I just thought I'd share that. That's because the Jabba, the barge scene was filmed right outside there in the dunes, and it was cool.
Me, Jess, did you ever run into like Carrie Fisher or anybody when you were out there?
Oh, unfortunately not. I would have loved to run into Carrie. Carrie, man, from what I knew of watching her as we all did, what a brilliant lady. Hilarious,
I
sharp.
met her.
Oh, and Dan, then go ahead, share.
You can't see back there, but I did get to meet her at a convention. And super sweet lady. Really, really cool. I was kind of surprised. It wasn't a Star Wars convention, but just seeing her walk her dog outside at the hotel. That's like one image I have in my head that I thought was just really just fun. I mean, I don't think it was terribly long before she died. I don't
So
remember.
You got to see Gary, the dog. Gary Fisher,
probably.
The tongue hanging out of the mouth.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't. My timeline on it. I don't know if Force Awakens was coming out. I think it might have been. I don't know that it was out yet. I think it might have been shot, because I feel like there was a lot of talk about those movies at that point, and it wasn't too long after that she died. I don't believe
it was before the third one came out. She passed away.
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe the first one came out. I don't know, but yeah, I got to meet her. I got to meet Jeremy Bullock, I believe his name was, who played Boba Fett and
the original Boba.
Yeah, a few others.
He's
David
dead now.
Prowse. Oh yeah, I didn't know he died. David Prowse, Vader, got to meet him. He's
dead now too.
Not the friendliest guy, but it was still cool to meet him. I knew him from his Hammer horror work as well, but yeah, no, Carrie was super sweet. I'd share the photo if I had it handy.
It's just nice to hear that. I mean, brilliant. Yeah. She did so many rewrites in movies and shows that she didn't even get credit on. She was a ghostwriter. Like she could come in and punch up the dialogue and shit that I know everybody's seen.
They should have used her on some of the new Star Wars stuff.
Oh God, I
was actually thinking the same thing. All right.
I think we
I think we're at Orc.
Yo. Okay, so Return of the Jedi. Probably the best video game from Nintendo or Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Easily. And the best part about the arcade game where you had a joystick, kind of like you're in a helicopter. That's pretty good too. About the movie, has probably my favorite scene in the whole entire franchise, when the sabers cross and the Emperor has a shit-eating grin on his face. Love that.
Good one.
And yeah, Ewoks going ham sandwich. Bunch of other crazy stuff, and then ghost people. Yeah, pretty cool. Yep.
Yeah.
I just want to say for the record, Ewoks rock, and you gotta love those little cannibalistic little bastards.
They're probably the weakest part of this, I think. Like, I mean, I don't hate them to the degree that a lot of people do. I mean, they probably started a trend that they later just went way overboard with. I think Return of the Jedi ends great. It's a great end to Darth Vader's arc. Rousing finale, of course. I mean, I think everybody loved how it ended, if nothing else, but not the strongest of the original trilogy, but it ended pretty damn strong. So I still consider it a great movie.
I just want to point out one more thing, and it's something that everybody needs to keep in mind here going forward. Darth Vader was redeemed at the end of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He went away from the dark side. He's no longer Darth Vader. He's back to being Anakin after this movie. Let's just keep that in mind when we do the sequel trilogy.
It's no longer black either.
Oh yeah, and also I think this has probably my favorite line from a Star Wars movie out of all 9 of them is "It's a trap" by Admiral Akbar. Is that in this one?
Akbar. Thank you, Orc. I can't believe that even slipped.
I want to
It's a
get
trap.
that shirt because that's just basically my life in a nutshell. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Oh, another one of the greatest lines that yes, you repeat in life, or I repeat in life, even when it's probably doesn't really fit.
That's what she
Jake,
said.
Jake, Return of the Jedi. She probably did.
This, like Orc said, the Super Nintendo game, played that a lot. They had the arcade game in the movie theater growing up, so I played that a lot.
I remember that.
This is the one out of the original trilogy as a kid that I probably watched the most. I like the Ewok stuff and all that. I always liked the Stormtroopers, I don't know what they're called, the ones on the speeder bikes in the forest with the cool helmets. I thought they looked a lot cooler than the original Stormtroopers. The opening with the Jabba's palace, the Rancor, that's always fun. And then the thing they added like a whole in Jabba's palace, some awful like musical number by these awful looking CGI characters. That's really bad. But the end they do add, yeah, and I think it's the ones on Disney Plus now. I don't know where it starts on physical media release, but they added Hayden Christensen's Anakin at the end as a Force ghost.
I think that started clear back on the special edition DVD release.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know how far back it went, but
pretty far.
Always like that.
I like the fact that they added Hayden Christensen to it.
Because before, if I remember, it was just, was it not a different actor that was supposed to be? Because obviously it's before the.
I thought it was the dude who he unmasked.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I'm glad they changed that. It could have been something like that. But.
Did anybody else see the interview that Hayden Christensen did where he said that he didn't even know that George Lucas had filmed that or was going to do that? Like he was filming, he was just filming some extra stuff and he told Hayden to just stand there and smile. And that's what he was using it for, was to replace the original actor.
I have mixed feelings on that. It doesn't bother me like it might some, but at the same time, it is kind of in the back of my head. Well, yeah, I don't think it was 100% necessary, and you kind of do etch out another actor's work doing crap like that. But
nobody knew that actor as Darth Vader. Exactly. You had 3 full movies that were Hayden Christensen
as Anakin.
He becomes Anakin, or he is Anakin. He becomes Darth Vader. That's Darth Vader now. Nobody gives a shit about the other guy.
I think.
Yeah, but the other guy came first.
Doesn't matter. You didn't see him.
I think that like a lot of that is just simple. Have both versions. You'll make millions and millions of dollars releasing the original cut, and you still have the new cuts.
The sad thing is you're right.
You can make everybody happy.
I don't see it happening.
But that would be like they could make that the only fucking change that they make, and you'll still make millions of dollars because, and I'm going to say this and probably piss a lot of people off, but Star Wars fans are nuts.
Yeah, no.
Well, they just want to see. I think they just want to see the original uncut, updated.
The original.
I really do appreciate the DVD box set I have that has both versions, and I like both versions.
Which that's no. I don't know why they couldn't.
Hold on a second, Jess.
Okay.
The last time they released the 4K set, they couldn't just add both versions. But then you're gonna, do it now because you're eventually gonna get to a point where everybody that's seen it, that's the version that they're familiar with.
Oh yeah, no, you're probably.
Mine's a little bit. Is this the one you're talking about?
No. Though I don't. Does it have the?
I thought the VHS was the last time that you had the.
No, there's a VHS set.
Remember?
There's a VHS set that has all the new stuff added in it.
But I thought VHS was the last time you had the original cuts, or am I wrong?
No, I'll go show you.
Okay. I'm not an expert on this one, but I feel like you released those original versions. That might be like your highest grossing movies for the entire year, or at least very damn close if you put those out tomorrow, because people want to see this stuff anyways. So, I mean, they will rebuy it to have that different version. Look at that guy that was selling bootlegs on eBay. I mean, my God. Yep. What up, Mikey?
What's up, Mikey?
Oh yeah,
It's
Mikey.
Disney though, so who knows?
No.
Disney has not done that much good stuff for Star Wars since they took it over.
I think they get a lot of goodwill.
Period, but
no, they've pretty much killed a lot of stuff. But that's some goodwill if you put out the original cuts. Nobody would expect it. Make fans happy. Yeah, okay. So that I know that one. That's got the originals. I think. You're muted, Jess Skywalker.
It does have the originals along with the special editions of both versions, but a lot of people are angry because the originals are supposedly, they didn't do any enhancing with them. They just took it from the Laserdisc transfer or something and put it on the DVD. But it's definitely watchable if you want to see the original cut.
This one was released
HD
before Revenge of the Sith, before Episode 3, because it's got the basically it's got a recap of Episodes 1 and 2 as a bonus, and then they've got like a recap of Episodes 4 through 6.
Okay. Oh, did you catch Mikey dying breathing?
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay. Good to see you, Mikey.
Asking if Jake gave birth.
Jake, did you give birth?
I did not give no birth.
It's like Junior, just with more fat shaming.
Give the birth.
I didn't give the birth. My wife gave the birth.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, were we talking about this, Jake and Dan, I think, and maybe at work you were, I don't know if you were there or not. It was in a private stream. But talking about not releasing the original trilogy, do you think it's a possibility that even though they own it outright, that there wasn't a stipulation in the contract that they had to release? Because George would never release them past that. He's like, here's these DVDs I just showed you. Now leave me alone about it.
Yeah.
Because the special editions is his version that he wants out. Do you think he could have made some sort of contract that you have to at least wait until I die before you release
the billions of dollars that I think he got? George Lucas can suck my dick with those stipulations. There's no stipulations for that kind of money. I'll edit the Care Bears.
I wouldn't think so
if I want to.
Then what's the reasoning at this point then that they wouldn't just make them? Are they saving it for when this really collapses and they can try to redeem themselves with Star Wars and go, oh, here's what you guys finally want?
It's collapsed.
Come back
for a while now, I think. Yeah, it's collapsed for a while now. I mean, I don't
feel like
know.
Kathy Kennedy isn't doing George any favors anymore.
No.
You know,
she is awful.
She's the problem out of this whole. How she still has a job blows my mind. But that's a story as we get closer towards the end.
Yeah. Well, all right. I mean, final thoughts on the original trilogy. I mean, does it have the best 3 movies to all of you guys?
Top 4. 3 of the top 4. Let me say that.
Okay.
I won't give that away.
All right.
Because we'll rank them at the end. So.
Then I guess, are we moving on?
Yeah.
We are.
Okay. We'll rank it at the end. We'll move on to the prequel trilogy.
Time for the hate.
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Well, hello.
The 2+ hour
said hello.
slog.
Stupid technology. Well, I've been just going, so starting off, I'll start us off if you aren't tired of me yet. 1999, fellas. I'm senior year, last month of school or whatever. So excited for this. This is the feeling I felt like what people might have felt in the late 70s, early 80s with the anticipation for this movie. The hype, it was wild. The feeling before watching it was wild. And so went up. We had this Quad Cities. Went up with that with a group of friends and cousins, and the movie didn't blow me away. But
No, it
I
just
didn't
blew.
hate it. I didn't think it blew. Yes, there was definitely the critique with people coming out of it. Most of the people with my cousin Jake what came out of it, and actually a couple of them came out of it and were like, yeah, that was boring. And I liked it. Yes. Did I feel a little bit underwhelmed after watching it? A little bit. But I didn't hate it. And you're all going to hate me. I didn't mind Jar Jar. He is not my favorite character, but I actually chuckled at some of his stupid humor when he first came on the screen. And of course, everybody turned to me and looked at me and was like, well, did you seriously just laugh at that shit? But
you were talking
it
in
has
the green room.
It's still to this day. Yeah,
it was your
Did I tell you
favorite
that?
because of all the racism. That's what he was telling us.
I don't even know where Dan Schein gets this. I don't even know what you're talking about racism.
This was like about 20
thousands
minutes
of alien species in this.
I believe, quote, most accurate portrayal of the Jews since Passion of the Christ, I believe was a Jess Graham quote.
Come on, guys. That's a lie, buddy. It's not true.
Goodness.
Not true, folks. You don't know us. Tuning in, this is not true. No, I didn't hate, and I don't think that. And I don't even see any of the real racist comments. I think people are looking for stuff in there. It's aliens, just like George Lucas said. It's they're alien species from all sorts of different planets. Leave it. And it has one of the, if not the best, lightsaber fights of the entire saga, in my opinion.
Not even close.
Oh, come on.
Not even close.
The Darth Maul at the end.
I will give you it. That is the high point of that movie.
No, I think it's one of the, if not the best lightsaber fight of the entire saga.
Nope. Not even close.
Not even close. What are you smoking over there?
Not even. I seen this. I seen this in theaters when it came out. A buddy of mine, Jess, you know him, Jason. He's a huge Star Wars fan. He wanted to go. He asked me if I wanted to go with him. I was like, sure, fuck it. I got nothing else to do. So we went. I sat through this whole fucking thing. The pod racing is boring as fuck. I don't give a shit about pod racing. The most exciting part of the movie was that lightsaber fight, and like the shock that Qui-Gon Jinn dies, but
yeah, that ticked me off.
I mean,
one of my favorite Jedis.
Well, okay, so the ending of the movie is fine with me. I have no problem with the ending of the movie. There, you got a couple of shocks. I wasn't expecting Darth Maul to be killed either. So, but
cool villain.
I'm sorry. I meant Wolfpack Sting. I wasn't expecting him to die, but
he's not dead. He just got cut in half. He comes back
I-
and
Yeah.
Does he
and a
come
lot of
back
things.
in the movies?
canon
One of
that he's still
technically,
alive.
yes.
What movie does he come back in?
One we're not discussing, but he does come back.
The clone.
Oh, he does. Yeah. No, Solo.
Solo.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
But we're not going to get into whether that movie's even
Fine,
acceptable.
okay. So he comes
It
back.
was good to
The
see.
movie that we're
It's
not
cool to see Darth Maul again, but to me,
But he's not dead.
again, sometimes people are dead in the movie.
But anyway, as far as what you were talking about with the anticipation, there was so much anticipation for this one fucking movie that they made a movie about the anticipation of this fucking movie. You guys have seen
Fanboys?
Fanboys, right? So
I like
Yep.
Fanboys. Underrated movie, too. Underrated comedy as well.
it reminded me a little too much of Detroit Rock City, but
I love Detroit Rock City.
I think people were really starving at this point for a Star Wars film in a way that nobody probably will ever be again. I mean, they overlooked, I think, a lot. Now, I will say, action-wise, I agree. I thought the fight choreography, the lightsaber battles with Darth Maul, all of that was great. I think Ray Park was a good villain. By this point, it's got the prequel problem. Do I need 3 movies to get to where I already know it's going? No. And that's one big issue in general that I have. Another thing that hit me, honestly, even being, not terribly old when this came out, but I still felt like, unlike the original movies, that this was made strictly for kids. Particularly this one. This one was just so just light and fluffy. I didn't feel anything in this movie like I did with the original trilogy. The original being the first ones made, I should say. But it's still fun. Like, I'll say that. Like, I've had more fun watching this versus some of the other films we'll be talking about tonight. I love Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor. The actor Jake Lloyd, I believe is his name, that plays Anakin, not good. I mean, he's 10 years old, I think, or something at the time. He didn't have it. I feel kind of bad because I know that kind of haunted him later in his personal life. And
I was just going to say, I hate bashing that kid, but I do agree with you. And if you watch the special features, not to throw you off track, for the Phantom Menace, they're showing you the 3 kids they had it down to. Jake Lloyd, gosh, I now forgot his name. This other kid and another kid. Well, the one who was really up against Jake Lloyd should have been picked.
Yeah, probably.
Clearly, he nailed his lines.
Yeah, it was a bad child actor performance. I mean, that might be mean to say, but when you go back and watch that movie, it's like, man, it felt like he's like high school play, or not high school, grade school play level at times. Like it just wasn't there for him. In the years since, I've said this before, we've gotten better getting good performances out of kids that we just didn't back then. I don't know why. But it does bog the movie down. And there are some miscasting problems later on as well. But I mean, Phantom Menace, if you go in expecting light, fluffy, fun, it's there. I mean, I don't know how somebody didn't like tap George on the shoulder and say, Jar Jar Binks, like, we're not making roots here, George. We need to do something about this.
Oh, come on, Daniel Schein. You calling out racism.
Well, Jar Jar Binks for sure. I mean, I don't care.
No.
But
Ahmad Best played him.
Voice.
That was his character, choices and voice. And I don't see it. I don't want to see it. I think it's ridiculous.
I'm not saying it's intentional. I'm not.
And
like,
not
I'm not
keep cutting you
complaining.
out, but I've heard you're not the only person to say that this movie was made for kids. Well, one argument is even the
Strictly
originals
for
were,
kids.
to a degree, made for kids. And two, it's hard to say this is strictly made for kids when like a big chunk of it is boring diplomatic politician type stuff, you know, and the Federation, the Trade Federation.
I think this is a little better paced than other movies. Now, again, it's been a crazy week for me, so I didn't get to go back and watch all the Star Wars movies over. But at least as of now, I'm going to say this one didn't drag the same way some of the other Star Wars stuff did. So that's where I'm at on this one.
And I got to give a shout out to our friend, the Daily Ghost, who someday will be on this show.
Yes, yes.
And thank you. Another one. Dr. CZ Death, Mr. Chris. He didn't think the Phantom Menace was that bad. Agreed.
Do you guys out there that didn't care for it at first, do you feel like it's raised up several notches because of all the bad that we've had? And I know we're not going into the TV stuff, but yeah, I do feel like it's sort of moved up that list just because of the shit.
I'm sure that helped, Dan. I think you're right. But I think before the bad stuff that you're talking about even hit, I think time allowed it to grow on people too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I always said they weren't that bad when everybody was hating them. But I think even more so in time, there was love that was grown even before hating this new shit.
Yeah.
Justified or not.
So this movie gave us two awesome things. Well, three. Okay, so that Dan didn't mention or that hasn't been brought up yet. All right, so first off, the dude who plays Darth Maul is badass.
Ray Park.
He's a savage. And Natalie Portman. Come on. And then, of course, arguably at home for a console game, one of the best, if not the best, pod racer game.
Oh, hell yeah. 64.
64 and 64. Yeah.
Yeah, and 64 all day. The amount of time I sunk into that game, boy, the amount of Fs I got on papers, you wouldn't even believe. Maybe you can. By the way, I present myself, but you get what I mean.
Well, you bringing up games that triggered me earlier to think of, as far as the original trilogy games, I remember only a little bit, but Atari games is the main games, or like in television. You know, they had the Star Wars trilogy for those, and they were like a almost Defender game. You know, basic graphics was one of them.
I think Shadows of the Empire was probably the best one on N64.
That was N64? Yes.
Yeah.
I almost said PlayStation. No, that you're right.
That game was really, really hard. But yeah.
Well, didn't a lot of people think that's what the Phantom Menace was going to be more like? Was the Shadows of the Empire kind of story, or is that just me misremembering the mid-90s?
I was 11. I don't know.
Dying Breed. The real question is what happened significantly in the movie to help support the other two movies. Yeah, a lot of people argue not much, and like you can almost watch the 6 episodes and leave out episode 1 if you're doing them in the, I can't remember what order they call it, where you mix up the order. The biggest thing
happens, and that's Anakin is discovered by the Jedi.
Yeah, I mean,
without that, you don't have episodes 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6.
And I'm normally against this if it, like Han Solo doesn't need the mystery taken away, but it did show you the first, like, what the Jedi were really like, and it builds up, introduces you to those characters. And I do think the opening scene of Phantom Menace 2 is underrated when we first see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan hitting the Trade Federation, and that's a pretty cool scene.
Did you say in episode 2?
Episode 1.
No.
Okay.
When we're first, that opening in episode 1 is a pretty cool scene as well.
Didn't somebody say something about bad CGI when they were talking about Empire?
All these though in this trilogy has bad CGI, so
I think it gets better, but it's horrible in episode 1.
I mean, it's going to get better as technology gets better. So yeah.
Well, I mean, in this trilogy, it does get better, but it is horrible in episode 1.
I would say Attack of the Clones may be the worst offender.
I'd agree with Dan. I was just gonna say Attack of the Clones looks more video game-ish than even Phantom
Go back and
Menace.
rewatch when they bring out the droids in episode 1. That looks that looks History Channel bad.
The hills, the green hills that are supposed to be a grassland. That is probably the worst shots in that movie as far as CGI. But I still think episode 2 as a whole, like Dan said, has the worst CGI and looks more, again, computer made, video game-ish.
Oh, one more thing. The soundtrack for episode 1 is really, really good. I know I keep saying really. Jake, that's your fault. Really.
But you're right. It really, really is good. That freaking that orchestra, that choir at the end, the Duel of the Fates.
That shit, yeah.
Brilliant, John Williams.
I did like the very last scene where they do the they give out the medals or whatever. Or, they did it in. Was it A New Hope that they did that in?
Yeah, it was, I think, like a ball of peace.
They did a big parade or something. Yeah. But having something similar, I thought that was cool. It kind of, little nostalgia. Remember when this happened in the original 3 and.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here?
Brian Trash.
We got Big Crack Rock
howdy.
in the chat as well tonight.
Yeah, we do.
Star Wars. Yeah. Ooh. Well, Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is better than both Big Crack Rock. So.
Oh, wait. He's talking Star Trek.
Oh, wait.
Star Trek. The better science fiction franchise.
Yes. Count me out for that, Rumble.
I'm going to say this and just get it out there. Next Generation was the better series. And that's all. Anyway, back to Star Wars.
We might have a bit of Star Trek some point. I don't know if we can do about the whole franchise, but maybe the movies. And then we'll talk.
Yeah. That's the weird thing with Star Trek, though.
Where were we?
The TV stuff.
Jake, did you get a chance?
Zombie, hello. Before we, I want to. Jake is our, and I saw that ghost. Sorry, he likes Star Trek, like you, Dan, likes Star Trek more than Star Wars. We'll talk later. That could be a fun one, though. Jake. My other big Star Wars fan here. Phantom Menace, dude.
Phantom Menace. I remember. I seen this opening night with my uncle. There's people in theaters dressed up, had lightsabers. It was awesome. This is what, 99 or 98?
I thought it was 98, but Jess might be right.
I think it was 99.
Okay.
I'm thinking 99, so I was 8. And as we get over, I know the youngest, I think, in this group, Pork ain't far behind me. But this prequel series is my Star Wars in terms of I got to see all these in theaters and experience all the merchandise and all that awesome stuff. I really like Phantom Menace, like the pod racing. Jar Jar Binks is fucking awesome. I don't give a fuck what y'all gotta say about Jar Jar. He's awesome. And this is, it's like top 2 lightsaber battles out of the whole series. I like it a lot. I just don't understand why Jar Jar gets all the hate and why Kory hates it so much.
It's slow and it's a big slog. It takes forever. You get this. Yeah, it's not. not what I was expecting, not what I wanted to see, not Star Wars to me. So
8-year-old me walked out of the theater and his mind was blown. And from that point on, I was getting toys. I was Darth Vader Darth Maul that Halloween.
Darth Maul.
I actually had the costume came with the double lightsaber, and you could just like unscrew it, and then you could have two. This is back in, I don't know if you guys remember.
I'd love to see a picture of that.
I have to find it if I have it. But you could, like, the blade of the saber collapsed, and you could, like, swoosh it out. Well, on this one, it had a little hook that kept so if you were just carrying it, kept the blades from just sliding out. Yeah, so I really like Phantom Menace. It's good stuff.
I think, like I said, the prequel problem is like the big thing. We know where these characters end up.
Okay,
it's
but
like
if you're a big enough fan, you want to see that, though. I would argue.
But do you need 3 movies to do it? Like, do I need to see?
Yes.
Because you have to build. You got to go see how Anakin becomes to being the chosen one. That's going to lead the Jedi to. Like,
but
you gotta see that build, man.
Wait, hang on, Dan. I'll let you finish Kanye West style, okay? But this, I walked out of the theater, and I was 10 or 11, and like Jake, instead of getting toys and awesome shit like that, I got a refill of my bucket of popcorn and soda.
That's awesome.
Best Coke Zero, and yeah.
Well, here's my thing though. Do you need 3 movies to see why the school shooter became the school shooter? Do I need to see the school shooter being chill and playing with Legos? Like, I know he becomes the school shooter, so it's like it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, but if you don't,
this is. I want to point this out. This is funny because I'm the one that doesn't like this movie, and Dan said that.
Well, this is not
hate
this.
it.
It's the whole trilogy. This whole trilogy. I just didn't need that. Yeah,
I'm gonna say that Dan's basically saying that this movie's not necessary. I'm gonna disagree with you and say that it is necessary. As much as I don't like this one, like I tried to rewatch it and I fell asleep 10 minutes in. So
I don't know. I didn't think this was like boring compared to some of the other stuff, but again, didn't get to rewatch them all this week. But that's where I'm at now.
I get when this slows down for some people, but
we should have had Anakin looking like the new Crow into like build a little bit more. He could have had like the circle on his nipple and the guy liner and all that stuff. Listening,
damn it, Dan! I almost spit out my pop.
He did have a rat tail.
He had the rat tail. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I want Rob Zombie Star Wars, or you're talking about Rob Zombie.
At
Thank
this
you.
point, why not give him a chance?
Thank you.
Dango Dingo.
Yoda is just like threatening.
It's hard to argue that, but I enjoy it.
Yoda's threatening to purge his snork on some floppy ass titties. It would be awesome. Awesome. I did.
Oh.
All right. So we ready
we're
to
seeping into episode 2? Should we just?
Yeah, let's go into episode 2.
Unless there's final thoughts on Phantom Menace, if you do, bring them on anyway. Episode 2, Star Wars: Attack of the Clones.
Just leave that up.
I don't even think that's that great of an image of it.
Dan,
if that's what
you're.
Yes,
Dan Orc. I'm sorry, Orc. This is where Natalie Portman is worth bringing up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can take it down now.
That's about it. Yeah.
I'm doing something right now. Give me a second.
I preferred her in Your Highness.
Yeah.
I'm into ballet, so I like Black Swan. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Good movie.
That's a pretty good movie. It's an interesting movie. But Attack of the Clones. I guess again, I'll just get my nonsense out of the way. I was back 3 years later. I already said it kind of looks like video game-ish in a lot of scenes, but I almost think I've gone back and forth, but I thought then, and I think again now, I liked Phantom Menace better than this movie. I knew it was going to be more of a love story in a big chunk of it. It really doesn't get that exciting for me until the last 20 minutes of the movie, and then it's bam, 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 bam. And I will admit, when I first saw Yoda pull the lightsaber, I had no clue it was coming. And I thought that was pretty wild. It looked funny, but at the same time, I still liked it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I don't hate this movie. I still have fun with it. All in all, I like the prequel trilogy. I've rewatched them many times, but this, I think I do like Phantom Menace better. I'm trying to think of the extra compliments. You're wrong. Who's wrong?
All of us.
Dango Dingo knows how to play here at the Rumble, so I like it. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, I don't have any extra special memories. I know when I saw it in theaters when it came out. I think, the hype of the Phantom Menace had settled. I was still excited. Had to wait 3 years. And yeah, it didn't completely disappoint, but I thought, some of the effects, I knew what they were going with. Oh, the alien creatures, the Kaminoans, those were really cool. Now, the setting in the factory, it did look a little like, Ewan's walking on green screen or blue screen. You could easily tell. But, like, the aliens themselves were really freaking awesome. And the Boba Fett kid kind of threw me off a little bit. I get that. If something else comes up, I'll interrupt you as I do. Carry on.
Well, for me, as I said when you pulled up the poster, this is when I first noticed Natalie Portman and was like, holy fucking shit, she's hot. The action is so much better in this movie. I don't give a shit about the CGI in this one because everything else was fucking cool. And this, I guess with the first one, there was more politics in the first one, and maybe because I was older when the second one came out and could understand a little bit more, I guess I didn't mind it so much. So
there were a lot of Senate scenes in this, though, like quite a few from what I remember. Like I feel like, I don't know. Well, I'll get to it. Sorry, not to interrupt you.
Wait, is this the one, or was it episode 1 where ET's in it?
No, that's the first one.
Is it Phantom Menace?
Yeah, it's in the big council, I think. Yeah.
Phone home, Dan.
There is a group of
wrong
ETs
movie.
there.
Shit, my bad.
Jess, Dango Dingo would like to point out that it's not a factory, it's a laboratory.
I did notice that. You were correct. It's a laboratory. But whatever, that whole planet just kind of looks, like, yeah, he's walking on blue screen. But again, I thought the aliens there, the Kaminoans, they're fucking badass looking, and that played out well. Like, some of the CGI looks really great, really crisp. The skin, textures, and things are fantastic. And then the other things, it's like from something as simple as a backdrop, it just looks completely video game-ish. I don't know. Star Wars, Daily Ghost. You got a lot of great comments in the chat. I can't completely keep up with. Kory's only down with dying Pawpaw Yoda. Brian Trash has only watched the original trilogy and the Christmas special. And yeah, that's why we didn't go beyond the episode numbered movies, because I'd be talking about the holiday special for an hour. Great times. Zombie, did you all? Yeah, that would have been something else. I don't know about a classic, but it would have been something.
Basically the ride, more or less, I believe. ET2.
I think you're right, Dan. At Universal.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say 2 has better CGI than most movies, though there is some truth to that even to this day. But I always go back to even Jurassic Park, the first one, 1993, and we have crappier CGI releasing in movies to this day. Yeah.
Best looking dinosaurs to this day.
I don't know. Have you seen my mother-in-law?
Oh,
Whoa, that was pretty quick. Hello.
Sorry.
I hope she doesn't watch this show.
I don't think she does, but if she does, then I'm sure I'll be getting a message here soon.
Dango
Welcome.
Dingo is an alt.
Welcome to Kory Park.
All right. Who hasn't spoken of episode 2? I'm not.
Where are we?
Jake, Dan.
Or
2.
you want to go
Attack of the
work?
Clones.
Yeah, sure. This movie is not one of my favorites. I'll just put it that way. It's got Anakin, I think, is that his name, and then Natalie Portman just chasing each other around doing a bunch of
Rolls
Pride
down a fucking
LGBT
hill.
barbecue month shit, and yeah, I don't like it for that reason.
Okay.
All right.
Best review ever. Work.
Jake.
Yeah, this is the weakest out of the prequels for me. Are we not going to talk about why the hell does Count Dooku have a bench-long fucking lightsaber?
He's old. He's
Like,
old. It just doesn't
There's a name for that.
I never
He has to
I
take some
never,
Cialis.
never understood his lightsaber design, but seeing Yoda go crazy like that the first time, that was cool. This is Anakin massacres all the Tusken Raiders in this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Apparently,
Well,
he was offended by that.
Is this the movie?
I'll tag in until because I haven't really talked about it. But
Okay.
so the
There
first.
he is.
Oh, well, there
Okay.
it is.
All right.
Go ahead.
My internet sucks. But where Anakin slowly kind of going more to the dark side, little foreshadowing. Yeah, not my favorite of this prequel trilogy though, but there's still some good moments for sure.
Yeah, I think we line up pretty well on this one, Jake, as well as fans.
I think, well, there's a lot of issues at this point. I'm convinced in the audition process that Hayden Christensen hooked up with Natalie Portman and he pulled the oops, I slipped wrong hole move on her or something. And that might explain all the weird chemistry between the two because, two good looking young people, but they have no chemistry. Hayden Christensen at this point could not act. That's why, like I said, miscasting was a big issue.
But I don't think it
Really?
was because I think it works out. Like I don't see anybody else as Anakin as Hayden Christensen. I'm glad he's fucking back. By the way, sidebar.
Well, he learned how to act along the line, but back then he was pretty rough. And it's bizarre to me because I could have thought of a million different people they could have thrown in that role, but you never got the sense that those two would even be together. There's some really awkward line delivery from him, and I don't know, just
Well, I mean, it's
didn't care.
the relationship's weird anyway because she's like a grown ass adult in Phantom Menace and he's a kid.
Yeah, she's kind of a
So
diddler.
it's a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just
I'm right in
chemistry
the
was
middle
big
of you
issue.
guys. I mean, I get what Dan says about Hayden. I thought his delivery was pretty stiff at times in this movie. He has grown on me, though. I don't think he's horrible. And now I do see him as Anakin Skywalker. I just had to add that in. But yes, there's some stiff delivery. Some might blame George's screenwriting on that. But
I don't know. He just comes off like a really whiny bitch, goth kid sort of thing. Like somebody took my...
took that as that was his character.
Yeah, I mean, he's also like...
He's a horrible actor. He's doing exactly what his character would do.
I don't know. I don't know that that's exactly what he should be. It's like, I killed all the women and children because they took my fidget spinner. I don't know. It's just like...
Because they killed his mother is why he killed all them.
Yeah, the kids didn't, though. I mean...
Well, they all gotta go.
I guess so. I guess. I don't know.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
And I thought it was stupid when Yoda fought. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's so awesome." That was stupid.
Awesome.
No, it was cool, man.
It's
Dan,
silly, but it was cool.
But
That
all
was
we
like...
knew about him was that he was this great Jedi warrior, this great
Exactly.
Jedi master.
War
We
does not
finally
make
got to
one
see
great.
him in action.
I don't know. I love Christopher Lee. I wish Christopher Lee just like smoked him, but it's a prequel. Knew that wasn't going to happen.
Thank you, Big Crack Rock.
Should learn how to do a Jess Franco impression because that's what Yoda was based off of.
Oh.
Yoda likes zoom shots of beavers.
And by the way, Dango Dingo, I was not aware of that. And I don't know. I think we missed some important comments in there. But Dango Dingo, I might as well say, he is the one you're seeing the most of the lightsaber skills throughout this stream that pop up.
Okay. Hopefully the older son, so my jokes are not that
Yeah,
inappropriate.
I only have one son, and he's 18, so you're good.
This show
There we
isn't
go.
made for kids.
Yes.
It's
Clear.
It's not
Let's-
completely obscene, but it's not made
Let's
specifically.
rephrase that, Jess. This show isn't made for other people's kids. My kids are fine.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's parental discretion is advised, just like all of us who watch certain R-rated movies as a young kid. It's you got to decide depending on the content for your own kids and family. So,
What do you think Yoda sounds like when he's smashing?
no.
Go for it, Jess. Just finish. Just...
No, that's what she said.
Now a young Yoda. Like, does Yoda like in Mandalore? Well, no, that's not actually Yoda.
He's
right?
not
That's-
young.
That's not Yoda.
Okay. That's basically.
That's the same species, but he's the same species.
Can you imagine like Yoda, the awkward teen years, like going on panty raids and like a sex comedy with young Yoda? Can you imagine him sticking his dick through the wall like in Porky's?
I can't. I would watch it, but I can't.
I
Imagine.
hope George Lucas eventually gets to watch this episode. That would make my life.
Fuck you, J.J. Abrams. I'm gonna make that hat guy in charge. I love what he said about Yoda putting his dick through the shower
Oh
wall.
my goodness, we have gotten.
Where are we on?
I lost the train of thought. We were on Attack of Clones. There's so much.
That's
Clone War.
Okay, I've got a legitimate question I've got to ask, okay? The stormtroopers, they're all clones, right?
correct.
Okay. So I'm assuming that they continue to be clones throughout the rest of the movies.
Correct.
Throughout,
Okay.
through the
Up-
original trilogy, which would be next. They specifically noted in the sequels that they had stopped using clones.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just wanted to make sure. All
Yeah,
right.
we'll get to that.
Anybody got anything else they want to add to episode 2?
The Clone Wars, I have mixed feelings on how they, most of it is fine, but I don't know if anybody else envisioned the Clone War that they were talking about in the original movies slightly different.
I had no clue what to expect in the original movies when they brought it up. To be honest with you, the first couple of times I ever saw the original trilogy, when the Clone Wars were brought up in A New Hope, It was just a throwaway line. Like I didn't even catch it. Something else I never caught was the use of the name Anakin in the original trilogy. So, like, it was known that it was known after you watched the second one that Darth Vader was Luke's father, but like,
yeah,
I never ever caught that his name was Anakin. So
they say it though, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They say it in A New
They
Hope,
do.
I think. Hope
But-
long.
I never caught it. Now, in 15 years, I'll probably go back and rewatch them, and Padme's name's in there, and I'd never caught that either. So who knows?
That was confusing going back to the Phantom Menace, even when I first watched it. And I think it was supposed to be slightly with the decoys, but it was like, wait a minute, I thought Natalie Portman was, excuse me, supposed to be the queen with the makeup, and then you see Natalie Portman, Padme.
Oh,
And
and
that
they
was a little
kept saying Padawan or Padawan
Yeah.
or whatever. So I got confused with those two.
Because we didn't
Like,
really hear
is that
those,
her name,
those
or was
words
that what he is, or
early on, did we?
No.
Nerd alert.
Kory? If you
Drop
didn't
your
catch the
panties, you
beginning,
will.
Dingo wants to say they stopped using clones after year 2, and Zombie was saying no stormtroopers are not clones. So maybe by even the original trilogy, they started, using humans again. If they want to, if you really want to get into the deep lore about it, they're stormtroopers to me.
according to episode 2, they had what, 1 million troops or whatever that they made or whatever.
But I guess they're saying they were stopped sooner than we think. Like after that war, I guess maybe they started using. I don't know. That's getting in some lore I don't even know. I do know the stormtroopers; those totally looked computer animated in episode 2.
Oh, the ones in the
They
laboratory.
never built a suit. Yeah, in the laboratory, they never built a suit, and that was obvious. Come back, Jake.
Jess misses you.
Well, anyway, you guys anything we missed on episode 2? Is that?
I just think it needs to be reiterated that Natalie Portman's hot in this movie. I don't think we can.
Yes.
I don't think we can emphasize that enough.
Okay.
Feeling the force in my pants, I am.
Jake, final thoughts on episode 2.
I already talked about it.
You will drop your panties. Sorry.
The difference is like 5 years between. This is where, I think you don't understand the actual movies, which is true canon. Are you talking about episodes 3 and 4? Because there is almost 18 to 20 years between episode 3 and 4.
Well, maybe they just grow up faster in outer space.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Watching Orc up there with his ET fetish. More's indoors.
You know it, Kory. Why don't you get on here, man? Come on.
I think work is the main thing. I'd love to have him on though. Schedules. Oh my goodness. I knew that. We couldn't do an episode without that coming up.
I love Tennessee.
And on that note,
Episode 3.
Best part of this movie? No.
oh, good point, Orc. I have another buddy of mine, and I'm sure many have brought it up, that it would have been a simple change in that to make that so much better. He should have just basically had a scream rather than saying no. Like, is that what you're talking about?
He
The Darth
says the
Vader
same
no.
Yeah.
Original trilogy.
But I was just gonna say Luke does that in the original trilogy, doesn't he? It's not Darth.
Actually, yeah, he does.
It's Luke who does a really cheesy no.
Oh,
not
but everybody
true.
sucks his dick for it.
Whoa.
Wow.
Hot take, Luke's a little bitch, and so's Anakin.
It runs in the family.
I shouldn't want to shove them both in lockers, but at least Anakin becomes a badass.
At least
Luke just
Anakin
becomes.
bang Padme. I mean, shit.
He did, but
I hear Dingo in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, time to get back in the chat. I don't know. Episode 3, awesome. This movie, hey buddy. This it threw me off guard. This one I saw in California. So this is 2005. So it was different. It was a different group than I normally gone to the first 2 episodes with, and it right away when the crawl came on the screen, it was like war, capital letters, exclamation point. I was like, okay, cool. He's letting it all loose now for this one. This trilogy developed in a way I didn't think is how it was going to go from episode 1 exact. I mean, you knew where it ended, but how we were getting there. I thought of things like I was going to see more of Jabba, and those were just tastes we got, more of Boba growing up. I thought we'd get more of that story rather than just the one time in the last movie with the little kid. I don't know why, but I was expecting seeing more of those things by episode 3. And those were just thrown in there throughout the prequels just to give you a taste of them before the original trilogy. But all in all, this movie was badass. Sorry, I know we're ranking later, but it's obviously it's my favorite of the prequel trilogy. And it's got a lot of lightsaber fights, some great characters. Not sure, I go back and forth on how I feel about Grievous. There's almost too many villains after a while. No, it was cool. And a lot of folks had said the guys I went with after it was done, this is what episode 1 should have been. As far as I think, just the excitement, how it was done. And yeah.
I think this one has moments, for sure. Totally different feel. I think this was PG-13 at this point, right? They bump it up to that rating, if I'm not mistaken. And there's still some acting issues with Hayden Christensen, but he's better here than he was in the last one. And yeah, you're right. I just feel like you almost could have condensed this whole thing into one movie. I really do. I think you could have made it work, but
you're not getting anywhere with that with anybody here, I don't think, Dan. This is not The Hobbit. This is not The Hobbit, which should have been one movie.
The Hobbit definitely should have been one movie.
Where you think you are, dog? You think you're in New Zealand? Huh? Yeah. What's up now, son? We in space.
We in space, bitch.
Bitch.
I absolutely
Star
love
Wars.
this
If it's
movie.
the saga, it needs a trilogy. Sorry, Kory. Go ahead.
You're fine. I was just gonna say
Didn't mean to cut
I
you.
actually loved this movie. The battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan at the end is absolutely epic.
Yeah.
This is the best lightsaber duel in the entire saga. Fuck everything else. Everything else is in second place or whatever, but there's a big gap between this and everything else. This is the movie that, and I've said this before, and this one does it better than, so like in Terminator, you finally got Terminator 3, where you finally see everything that they've been trying to avoid and all this other shit. Episode 3 in Star Wars, you finally see what was being talked about in episodes 4 through 6.
That wasn't the best analogy, but go on.
Well, fuck you. I'm right. So anyway, the bottom line is that this movie bridges that gap. You finally see everything that happens. And for me, that makes it that much better. Because the way that they show how it happens, I think they done it perfectly.
It's a stronger argument. It is one of the stronger lightsaber matches that you're talking, lightsaber fights that you're talking. Excuse me. Smoking death sticks, by the way. We didn't mention that in episode 2.
Star Wars did? Well, Star Wars ripped off Isaac Asimov. You wouldn't have Star Wars without that.
Is that the iRobot?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Isaac, the Foundation trilogy. Frank Herbert's Dune as well. Not the movie, but the books. So you wouldn't have Star Wars if it wasn't for Isaac Asimov and Herbert.
Isaac's asked what?
Isaac Asimov, the Foundation trilogy. Nightfall? Come on.
Whoa. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. What?
Ooh. The new Battlestar Galactica was pretty damn good.
I was not aware of that. Dingo. I know you are, Brian Trash. I know you are. Love you.
Ugh.
King Henry was the best. Orkson.
Ark, thoughts on episode 3?
Episode 3. This one was amazing. Like a guy jumps into a car from another car thingy, and then they're fighting on rockets, like all that like stuff, and then like making the noises and stuff like that. And he goes, no, kind of like I said earlier. And that's like, and then you just feel bad for Vader because he's stuck in the suit and he's probably gonna die someday. But
we've already
like
covered it. He does die.
Yeah, I know, but you knew that because you were a Star Wars fan your whole life. So it's like he's stuck in the suit and he's
becomes black and then he becomes white again.
I didn't say that. No.
I'm
sorry. Every time Dan says that, I'm reminded of that scene in Chasing Amy. What's a Nubian?
And then that's all I got to say. Yeah,
good film.
Great film.
That is very astute work. I like that.
I like the sound effects he was doing.
I did too. That speeder chase is pretty cool. There's some moments or not speeder, but the thing he jumps in. You made me think episode 2 when he jumped into the cars. Yeah.
All right, Jake.
Was that even episode 2? I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. When they're in the big city and he jumps.
2.
That's 2. That's 2.
Oh, okay.
But that did trigger. That was a cool scene.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I always, before they even made the prequels, pictured what was else out there in Star Wars, like a Star Wars city. I will say
it was kind of like Blade Runner, Fifth Element, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know that bounty hunter in 2, just like when she gets hit with that dart and she dies. That was always my biggest fear about if I ever picked up a chick at a bar, that I'd go home with her and she'd look like she did before she got hit with the dart. And when I woke up the next morning, she'd look like she did after she got hit with the dart.
Just like Yoda with titties.
Yeah, it's just
rock my world, you did. Call me back, you will.
Jake, episode 3.
Oh, okay. Episode 3 fucking slaps. It's got everything. And I'll say, Kory, when I said from Phantom Menace and this, I go back and forth which one has the best lightsaber battle out of all of them is the end one. Because I think Anakin Obi-Wan's is more emotional than it is. I mean, it's still good, but it's more the emotion.
And I would argue that's what makes it better.
Yeah. This movie's fucking awesome. You get to execute Order 66.
So how old were you during this one, Jake?
What year is this?
The 99 or this is 2005 now.
So
Holy shit. Dango Dingo was just born.
so
Wow.
13 or 14? Maybe.
Okay. And wow.
12 or 13, probably, yeah.
Both wow.
So and I was still hooked, still loving it. They came out the video game for this. It was fucking awesome. I don't know if Work remembers it, but they had a thing. Of course, it was normal video game, play through the story, but they had like a I'd call it close to like a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter mode where you could pick your characters and lightsaber battle.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, but this movie is, I mean, I go ahead and spoil it. This is my favorite out of all these whole 9.
Wait, what?
This is
You
my
just lost me
favorite
there.
out of the whole 9, man.
I was surprised when S'mores and Doors had this in their top 3 even. And even Kory, it sounded like too, something like that. And Dooku was a bad guy. I get where you're getting at, Dango Dingo. He was looking at it from the wrong perspective, though.
No. Anakin killing all the younglings.
Yeah.
Yoda and the Emperor, they throw down in this one too.
Which was cool. It was cool to see the Emperor finally fight. A few rough CGI moments, but we can accept that. Yeah, very cool. And Mace Windu.
Use the Force, motherfucker.
Say father again. Say
Just like in Star Wars. So would you say you were probably the perfect age for this prequel trilogy, Jake?
Yes. That's why I love this one so much. It was perfect. First one came out, is perfect. And there wasn't a huge gap. It wasn't like I ever outgrew it. Heck, I think even when this one was coming out, I still had another lightsaber that came out, one that was clear, but you could change. It was Anakin's, and you could change it from blue to red.
Oh, see, now that you mentioned that, on the Phantom Menace, we got these light. They were Lucasfilm ones, but they were from. Do you remember Shopco, Kory? They were cheaper, but they were like a flashlight with a white. It was white when the Phantom Menace released. Me and this friend Sam, we got a couple of them. He had a Jeep. Total
Is that where
nerd.
Jack used to be?
Yeah, we're Jax.
Okay.
I did a commercial for Jax when I was a kid. But Jax. Yeah, it was Shopco by then, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were totally nerds, too, Jake. But I was older, and it made less sense for me.
No, I mean, I still buy toys to this day. So
I mean, yeah, you give me a good lightsabers. I'll have a battle. Well, you saw the video at the beginning. That wasn't that long ago.
Well, less than a year ago.
It was. Oh. Dan, Dan, did you explode all over episode 3 yet, or?
Yeah, I would say it is the better of the prequel trilogy.
Okay, now we're lining up, which is starting to get weird.
Well, we'll see. We'll see now.
Okay, do you think we're ready to move on, guys? Kory?
Yeah, I think we are.
Chat. Connor wants to put in his defense, Dooku was trying to kill Palpatine. I know, I get where you were coming from that angle, and he did explain that to Obi-Wan, but I think there was still some sinister, he wanted power over doing the right thing. Dooku did in the end. His plan might have been sort of towards the right right angle. He was telling most of the truth to Obi-Wan, but his reasoning behind it wasn't truly to do good. I don't believe.
Obi-Wan would have listened if he didn't have such a bitch ass name. Because Dooku, I mean,
Before we move on, somebody please, is his real name Obi-Wan or is it Ben?
It's Obi-Wan. That's his Christian name. And then when he went on to Tatooine to hide out, he changed it to Ben. So it wouldn't be as recognizable.
All right.
Lots of Bens on Tatooine.
You might find some good stuff in there, Zombie, if you didn't catch it. What you didn't catch. He was trying to remove corruption through power. Yeah, but a lot of dictators feel they're doing that, and it just doesn't work, buddy. All right. Whew. You can always go back to these, but here we go. Star Wars: The Force Awakens, or Episode 7, if you will. I like this poster. That was cool.
I don't know. It all looks photoshopped to me.
Well, what isn't? You know, man, this hype. You know, you mentioned earlier with the Phantom Menace. I don't know, Dan or Jake, that you didn't think we would get this hype ever again, or the hype of that ever again. It might not have reached Phantom Menace levels, but then again, I think it was pretty damn close if it didn't.
It was close.
I
would say
it was snuffed out pretty fast, but
I don't think it was until
I hadn't been excited for a Star Wars movie since the Phantom Menace, before this one came out.
There were long chunks of time in between.
Yeah, I mean, this had a lot of hope when I was down that he sold it to Disney, but then I thought, well, maybe it will give a new, they gave him a lot of crap for the prequels, George Lucas, and I thought there was some great hope. J.J. Abrams, I thought, was a good start. If you're going to pick a modern day director, a good start. Now, when we get to Rise of Skywalker, Abrams starts strong.
Wasn't he the same one that did the Star Trek reboot?
He did.
Yeah, he's ruined a lot.
I think he just proved his loyalty.
Now listen.
Star Trek. Super 8 was good.
Super 8 was good, and I thought the first Star Trek, the 11th movie that Abrams did, I thought that was solid and respectable. Now, as they went on, he didn't do the third one they did, but still, his start is really strong. I'm just going to say it, and his finish isn't always as Lost, Joyride, great things, but not necessarily the strongest finale.
I've heard that a lot in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give him crap for the finish of Rise of Skywalker because it's not his fault.
We'll go deeper into that as we go. But Force Awakens.
I guess I'll start. Did you already say what you had to say, Jeff?
I might chime in. I liked it. I watched it okay. I mean, anybody's arguments are rehashes. Nah. So was Jedi, as far as, we're building another Death Star. And so compared to the original. So the rehash thing isn't a good excuse. I thought we had new characters. It was a fresh storyline. I was so damn excited to see. I'm glad to see Han, Chewie back. I think as we all were hoping for the new trilogy that we'd see the old people together flying in the Millennium Falcon and more Luke Skywalker acting like the prequel Jedis. But really, this was understandable how they did Force Awakens, how he did Force Awakens. You were really only going to get Harrison for one movie. as doing anything really of substance. He wanted to die off in the original trilogy. Be thankful he was back, and that all it took was a huge paycheck. And again, I think there was some fresh stuff to this. And at first, I liked these characters. I have no problem with Rey. I still like Rey just fine. Finn was going to be a cool character, I thought. As we go on, it didn't completely turn out as cool as great as I thought he was going to be. But Finn was all right. Poe, to me, was probably the weakest, or the one trying to be like Han Solo the most. Great actor, though, plays him. I like The Force Awakens, and here's the spoiler alert for that. We'll get the other rankings will be tougher, but Force Awakens is my favorite of the sequel trilogy. And go ahead, Jake, if you want to take over if I come up with some.
I'll say the high. I was really excited for this, seeing this open tonight, and get a little nerdy. But man, when you get the music and the opening, you see the title screen, you know, get goosebumps a little bit because it's been a long time since in the theater to see a Star Wars movie, and I thought this. Everybody says, "Oh, it's pretty much a remake of New Hope," which I kind of see that, but at the same time, you're setting up your new characters, and you're setting up your new story. And I liked what they set up. We'll get to later, but I really still like this one quite a bit. This is my favorite of the newer of the Rey saga.
Ghosts agree with us.
It was. I think I've seen this probably 4 or 5 times in theaters. Like, I was all about this when it came out.
And I got to go back to S'mores and Doors before we get too much further. If you're changing your name to Ben, maybe change the Kenobi too. Just a suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah, you dumb son of a bitch.
It's fantasy. It's fantasy. We can't forget that. This is all fantasy. And
fantasy.
Maybe Kenobi's like Jones in outer space. So
we can't take it too seriously. And I don't think the effect would have been as great if he had gone into hiding and changed the Kenobi name.
The name's Ben McLovin.
Ben McLovin. Wait a minute.
I have an ID.
Does Zombie not like JJ? And Dango Dingo brings up that this trilogy had a fully written story based on the comics and Disney traffic. Well, even the extended universe and comics were not the story that were written for this by George.
Well, Lucas, if I remember, the trilogy was sort of mapped out. JJ and whoever co-wrote this with him, The Force Awakens, they had mapped out the whole trilogy. And then which we'll get there, once fucking dumbass Rian Johnson got a hold of it, Disney just let him do whatever he wanted, so he just did what he wanted, and you can thank lovely Kathleen Kennedy for all that.
For approving it.
Yeah.
But I think he was talking beforehand, not even the bit.
No.
But you're right. I think there was an outline even after George's by JJ, and was it Lawrence Kasdan?
So they had written, because I think they knew they wasn't getting him for 2, because what was he shooting? The next Star Trek or something?
Well, I think he was hesitant to take on this one, and he wasn't. He thought he was going to do the one and done. He was never planning on coming back. They were going to pass on the baton to a new director each movie.
They was, but he had written out the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think even with Colin Trevorrow or something, that he was even aware he was going to direct the 3rd movie, and that he was even aware kind of where it should go. And then that was fucked up in between is why he left.
Kathleen Kennedy is Hollywood's genital wart. Like, I don't think everybody hates her. I don't know any like Kathleen Kennedy like fans. She's just awful.
If you haven't, I didn't hate. I thought she was a part of the group as far as good producers from the original Indiana Jones. I thought she was a good choice at first and that she was gonna take care of these movies. And I think that's exactly what George thought until it happened.
Until
I
she
think-
anally raped them.
I don't think she understood, which is another problem that fucking dumbass Johnson had. They just didn't understand the material is. This should have never been. One person should have done.
I think everybody realizes that now. I think it could have still been done with 3 different filmmakers.
It can be done with 3 different directors. I don't think it can be done with 3 different writers.
Yeah.
I think the same person's got to write them all out.
Yeah. There's so much literature out there too. It's like, it's not like you don't have stuff to draw from to make this work. And again, I haven't read much at all in the ways of Star Wars literature, but I know it's out there. I've certainly talked to fans over the years who've kind of explained some of the options they had just through the comics, through the books. There's just so much, and it's like, no, we just do New Hope again. And we'll get into other things that we rip off. Just rinse and repeat.
But it didn't, Dan. I got to cut you off and argue this. This is the Rumble. It did not just rehash A New Hope. There were
I am your father.
Even George did things that were mirrored from the prequels in the original trilogy.
What I Am Your Father did they do in this one, Dan?
Not this one.
Okay.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
But Daisy Ridley sucks.
I don't think she does.
I don't think she does either.
She is the most stone-faced non-actress. They really have issues casting actors for these movies. I don't know. I haven't seen anything from Daisy Ridley that's been even remotely impressive to me. And I'm not just talking about the Star Wars stuff, but I don't know. And isn't she like supposed to be the next, is it movie or TV show?
Movie. She's getting her own trilogy.
Do you think anybody's going to go and see that at this point?
Yes,
I will if they
Star
call
Wars.
it. I hope they make just a better. I want it to be episode 10. And
I do not.
yeah, because if it's just another spinoff, I don't have as much heart into it to begin with. And if you're going to bring Rey back, it might as well be fucking episode 10, not a spinoff movie.
I think they just need to do something new. Go 100, 200, 300 years in the future and just do something completely new.
They're trying that shit, though. And
so you want it to be modern day.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think at this point, like, too much damage has been done and they just need that break again. Star Wars is the one thing that people won't forget about in 10, 20 years. People need to be hungry for it again. I don't think people are hungry right now when you have like 12 TV shows in development.
I was just going to say the TV shows and shit, they've oversaturated it. And I really wish because a 10-year difference, even from if they didn't have as much TV shows, there might be more excitement for episode 10 by 2025. But you said,
I'm fine with the TV shows as long as they're fucking good. And so far, we've got 2 really good ones and 2 like okay ones. So a couple that's not good.
Mando and Obi-Wan.
No, Mando and was it
Andor? Andor fucking bored me.
It was awesome. It was more like but yeah. Solo or not Solo. It just wasn't necessary. I don't care.
Unnecessary. We can't get into that, but I agree. That Solo, nobody wanted to know Han Solo's backstory. Don't kill the mystery. But that's another episode. I want to remind me later. I want to bring up Mara Jade, but later in Zombie, and You're right. There was the Solo kids, which there is hints of those in these characters in this trilogy. Yes, Luke's son. Again, I want to talk about some of these things that I would have felt fit in later in the sequel trilogy to make them better, or what I wanted to see. Ghost likes Daisy.
Sorry.
Big crack rock. Missed opportunity from Disney to not throwing Buzz Lightyear in there somewhere.
They're going to try. They're going to get Vin Diesel just driving his Charger into the Death Star. It's all about family. And that blows it up.
Okay.
So can I go now? I've been patient.
I don't know. Jan and Jake, are you guys finished? Does it work? I don't.
Yeah, I think I said everything on this one. Yeah.
All right. So I will be the first to admit that yes, I was excited to see a new Star Wars movie, because the last Star Wars movie I saw was Revenge of the Sith. So I was happy. I liked that movie. I go in, I watch this, I take it all in. It looks nice and everything, and then I start like thinking back on the story and what the fuck? First of all, the Force cannot awaken. It is the fucking Force. It is everything. What does Obi-Wan say? It's everything around us. It binds the universe. It can't fucking awaken.
It meant awaken within a specific character.
No. Fuck off with that shit. It can't fucking awaken. It's there. It's present.
No, it's always there, but sometimes it can awaken in an individual.
It cannot fucking. No, the person can realize it's there.
Yeah, so that's their awakening.
No,
it's not saying
that's the person's awakening, not the Force. The Force is fucking omnipotent. Good fucking God. Second problem I have with this, and this is a big one. You remember earlier when I said Darth Vader redeemed himself? He quit being Darth Vader and was Anakin at the end of episode 6. And then fucking Kylo Ren is standing there praying to his grandfather to show him more about the dark side. How the fuck can he do that?
He doesn't, though.
Yes,
it's not Vader showing him anything of the dark side.
He's praying, and he's got his fucking helmet there.
It's Snoke and the Emperor later manipulating.
Snoke, a completely unfucking necessary character.
I thought it was honestly going to be like Anakin with the scars. It was going to be revealed Anakin survived and his evil part survived. It was the scars and shit.
They could have
matched up.
They could have done this trilogy so much better. All they had to do was replace Snoke with Mace Windu and have him seek revenge on the Skywalkers.
Palpatine that would have been an interesting twist.
Palpatine even says in the prequel trilogy that he knows the secrets to saving people. So who's to say he didn't save Mace Windu?
Yeah, I mean, there could have been definitely better twists.
They brought Palpatine back.
Which I could take or leave. I think that was a cop-out in the end. They needed something.
I think it could have worked in that scenario, though.
Yeah.
And the First Order. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, so you're going to tell me that the rebellion destroys the Empire. All right? And then they set up the Republic again, and they've got the Senate again, but then there's the First Order. And they have to get permission, or they're trying to get the Senate to approve going to war with the First Order and all this. It's fucking stupid. This is the dumbest fucking 3 movies I have ever seen in my life.
I agree.
Nerds. Darth Kory, you're right. Don't agree with him, Zombie. Come on.
Thank you, Zombie.
Pork Milk, welcome. Says, I'm old. I thought the prequel sucked hard. I mean, I don't think you're alone out there.
Not as hard as the sequels.
Well, and you're talking to a guy. I don't necessarily hate the sequels. They are by far the weakest. But
Kylo Ren, fuck you, Mom. I'm going to the dark side.
it was a hologram though at the beginning, the first Force Awakens. It's a hologram still. They didn't necessarily need to make him look completely like that. I don't know, or it could have been an older part of his soul zombie. It was just one idea I had that would have been better than half of this and killing off characters that don't really end up meaning anything. And you're going off on the First Order, Kory, on your comment. And I don't know if what they're saying here, but they mention it in The Force Awakens, like that, the Empire has been known, or it's the evil has been known as the Empire, the Sith, and now the First Order. I mean, honestly, George changed. We didn't hear Sith in the main movies until the prequel trilogy. It was the Empire, and the Emperor was just evil. Knew the dark side. That's we didn't heard Sith yet, so then it was Sith in the prequels, Sith, and so they had to come up with something new. Jonathan Bombastic, hello.
Where are we in this shit show?
We are on the prequels.
Oh goddamn, that's the worst ones.
Yeah, they're.
Did you say prequels or sequels?
Oh no,
sequels.
I thought
sequels.
Sequels
I
are the
sequels.
worst ones. I'm sorry. I was
No, we're on the sequels. You're right. I said sequels.
okay. Then that's I hate those.
They're all pretty lame.
Jonathan,
Quick thoughts on the original trilogy.
That's untouchable, right?
Yeah.
The original trilogy's historically good, right? The prequel trilogy I enjoyed when I was a kid because I was like it was all kind of aimed at me. It was fucking everywhere for episode 1. And these sequels are terrible.
Okay. You're caught up. Kory said, but he had to hear the Last Jedi comments. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Last thoughts on Force Awakens? We can always again mix it. Work.
The greatest movie of all time. No cap.
Seriously, quickly, what was your first? Did you go to the theater for Force Awakens? Did you?
No, oddly enough, I didn't catch 7, 8, Rogue One, or Solo in theaters, but I saw 9. I don't know how the hell that happened.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I guess I was just gaming too much. But then I saw 4, 5, 6, and 1 through 3 all in the theater. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you think of something in Force Awakens, you can always bring it back. But Star Wars, The Last Jedi, Episode 8.
Talk about a woke piece of shit. Oh my god. I don't know what's worse, this or the ending to Avengers Part 2. Holy shit. Let's all cry like a bunch of F words.
It's hard for me to argue points like that and many others that I'm sure you'll have about this movie and where it went wrong with Rian Johnson. I don't hate this movie like everybody else. I saw the points it was trying to make. I went in the movie theater. Other than a couple of things, I came out of it thinking it was very close to being a really badass Star Wars movie. At first, I hated that, spoiler alert, Luke dies in the end. But the more and more I get it, is Luke was never going to be the Jedi from the prequel trilogy. He's old now. He is in the Obi-Wan role. And if we're ever going to...
he doesn't give a shit. He can't be bothered.
Well, why was he written on the fucking... Yoda went into exile.
Leave me on my planet to jack up and watch Matlock.
Yeah, I don't see what everybody thinks of that. So, he lost his hope. He wasn't the same guy in a way that he was in the original trilogy. Yoda had to exile himself. That's why he was on a planet alone.
Yeah, but Yoda wasn't like a completely broken down piece of shit that didn't care. I don't know.
He was a nutty little hermit.
Sure. He's making the best of it, though. Like, Luke's just sitting there, like, just Mr. Cookie Puss. Like, just can't be bothered. Leave me alone. I don't give a fuck.
It's not exactly what we wanted to see, but I get the choice that was made, and I don't think it was that awful. And he does redeem himself by the end of Last Jedi in a lot of ways. It's not as bad as everybody wants to say. Yes, I fucking hated Leia Poppins. That was atrocious. There is definitely some what we would call woke moments that it's like cringe. You're doing this just to do it. It doesn't really fit this character or these characters. But there were cool things. There was some cool shit. And I get, shocking us too is what I think a lot of it he was going for. Killing fucking Snoke. Killing Phasma, just wiping people out left and right. You didn't expect that. And you might have hated that. That's fine. I didn't like that. I totally blanked. I gotta quit smoking. I don't know. I'll come back to that. I didn't like that there was no... that they said Rey wasn't special, and I know they retcon it later, which I think it kind of needed retconned, but they retconned it wrong. I didn't like where her heritage was. I think we really, even though we were all expecting it, really needed something like Rey was Obi-Wan's granddaughter, or she was Luke's daughter even. Then being Palpatine's daughter later. I mean, that's all I got for now. I don't hate The Last Jedi like everybody else does.
It's
so screw you.
Luke and Leia's daughter.
It's not the worst movie. No, I think
I just caught that, man.
No, it's not Luke. That's gross.
That's why
it should have been Luke and Mara Jade's daughter. Zombie, if you're still out there, Mara Jade. And Mara Jade should have been a character by The Rise of Skywalker, which again I would get into. But she should have been Mara Jade and Luke's daughter. Would have been really, really cool. And I think fans would have loved that twist.
What if you introduced Michael Berryman as a Jedi and he's Luke and Leia's son?
I don't know why you would choose that. I think he would make a great Jedi.
That's why he's all fucked up. It's
so.
Oh yeah.
I just remembered something else that I've got an issue with The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi as well. How the fuck is it that Rey has no fucking training, doesn't know fucking shit from fucking Rice Krispies, but all of a sudden she can fucking do all the Jedi shit?
Girl power.
Explain that to me. Come on, Mr.
Because as you said earlier,
Force Awakens,
the Force
just
around.
awoke in my fucking bladder a few minutes ago. I had to fucking go take care of that.
The Force isn't just specific to, the Force is in different people. And it didn't take Luke that long to fucking take on the, with a little training from Obi-Wan. There wasn't that much of a time span for Obi to...
Nope.
So those arguments to me by the hardcore fans are kind of, come on, you're just looking for something to hate there. I understand if you don't like it for this point and that point.
There's nothing. She doesn't have to fucking learn shit. She just knows it.
No, she didn't just know it. She had to train later. Come on.
In The Force Awakens, she uses the Jedi mind trick. How the fuck does she know to use the fucking Jedi mind trick? Because she's fucking... It doesn't fucking work.
Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Sure that was Force Awakens? Was that Force Awakens?
Yeah, it was.
She did know it, yes. Well,
quit making excuses.
Well, it's a fantasy. You guys, you think too hard on this shit sometimes too, without just allowing yourself to have some fucking fun. Yes, like I said, there's major flaws in this movie. The Last Jedi, yes. I can't argue most of the things people do hate about it, but to me, it doesn't make me hate the whole idea, the whole film. There's some great shit in it. The throne room fight, I think, is really cool. The salt planet I thought was really cool. I mean, come on. Even the casino doesn't bother me. I hated the kids
credit.
and shit.
I thought it looked great. It looks like it should be a Star Wars movie. Too bad it's not.
Oh, it is a star. It's an all right one. I don't hate it. Come on, don't be that mean about it. Zombie R2D2 is the droid I'm looking for. That's funny because when we were watching this, or I was watching this with my dad and my mom. My mom liked the new BB-8 droid. Speaking of droids, and she turns to my dad, just having, oh, I like that BB-8 droid. What do you think? And he doesn't really give a shit, but he was like, no. And she's like, what? You don't like BB-8? No, I like R2D2 and C3PO. He said it really. I was like, boy, you got really intense about that, defending the droids.
BB-8 is just like an anal bead that broke off. That's nothing interesting.
That's kind of the feeling you got from the way my dad answered that. It's like, okay, didn't know you were that passionate about the droids, Pops. Oh. Come on, do I have any defense here, Jake? You got Kory, you got Dan hating it, you got Bombastic came in and shit all over it and laughed.
It's a piece of shit. You're on your own on this one, buddy.
Oh, fuck me. Come on. I know
BB-8 looks like something R2D2 like shit out. I mean,
well, I'll say I like BB-8.
That little droid.
You like BB-8? Yeah, I liked BB-8 okay. I hated that they added even another droid like in the last movie. Fucking JJ. That's where he starts going down. I can't remember. Dio or whatever.
Did your dad like throw his plate of food at you for liking such a stupid movie, Jess? Did he just rage throwing it?
Oh, it almost felt that way. No, I mean they're fans, but they're not like nutty Star Wars fans like me. It wasn't them that I was pushed into the theater with. Was that Jake?
Didn't you say the surprise of killing Snoke and all that? It's not a surprise when you set it up as your main fucking villain, and then where are you supposed to go from there? You've already set this up, and let's not talk about if he's which we know now, but at the time we didn't know. He's training Kylo Ren, correct?
Yeah.
But he can't feel the fucking Force being used right next to him?
Man, I don't know. It's a good question, but now you're starting to sound like these fuckers thinking too hard.
Well, no, because it's true. This movie sucks.
Not you,
Ron Johnson.
These two.
Piece of shit. I hope he never fucking works another day in his life. I hope he's fucking on the interstate with this fucking sign because he's homeless because he's such a piece of shit. And he
in Minecraft. In Minecraft.
Yes. Minecraft in real fucking life. Fuck that.
There's your backup, Jess.
It's hard. I have gone back and forth on that, Jake, and it's hard not to watch the director and the Jedi documentary, and they were, and not. He kind of had the warnings too that this was not going to go that way. Ryan Johnson, did I? Excuse me.
Oh shit!
Stop it!
Like, there's nothing. It took everything that was set up and it said, nah, fuck all that. I ain't doing. We're just gonna forget any of this.
Yeah.
And the only thing I liked out of this is when Luke steps back on the Millennium Falcon and talks to R2. That was cool. But that's that.
Yeah.
This movie pissed me off from the opening scene because Force Awakens ends, right? She's handing Luke the lightsaber. Like, fuck yes, can't wait. And it starts where it ends, and he just fucking tosses it.
But again, going back to my original point, Jake, I get yours. We all thought he was going to take that, and it was Luke's coming back and doing flips and shit. But what the hell was he doing on the island all this time that he was going to immediately go, oh, well, shoot, yes, I need to come back as a Jedi. I've been wrong this whole time.
He didn't have to come back. He just had to train Rey.
The writers were wrong the whole fucking time on all these fucking movies.
Oh.
So fucking stupid. So stupid. Who uses forced projection? Just fucking be there, dude. If you're fucking stupid. And then you see, and then that fucking shit with Rey and Kylo, where they can like fucking hear each other's thought, talk to each other through the fort. That shit is stupid.
I wasn't the biggest fan of that. I can't. Those are some things that I can't argue with you on.
The only thing.
Yeah, it's sadly true.
They didn't kill off Chewie, did they?
No.
No, but he technically was already replaced before. He was a consultant by the second movie, Peter Mayhew. And so he was replaced. If they're
Dan, no.
Daniel,
I book better stories, guys. What can I say?
Ewok movies were fun too, by the way, and you can't forget you had some crap spin-offs and Star Wars stuff that wasn't always top notch, wasn't as oversaturated.
Hence why we're not covering those.
Yeah.
Someday we will. But even those have grown on me. Well, I'd like to see, and you bitter old bastards probably will still throw your hatred out, but in 10 years, 15, maybe even 20, what the thoughts will be on the sequel trilogy. Will it be that bad? Yes, I still think it'll be the weakest of the 9. But will any love grow?
It's going to all depend on what they come out with between now and then.
Just don't.
Because if they come out with something else and it's worse than this, then yeah, it's going to be ranked better than those. But
well,
if it's worse,
I hear Acolyte is the shits. So
well, I'll say
shits as in diarrhea, right? I haven't seen it, so I truly can't judge. But
I'll say that
I haven't heard one nice thing as of yet.
Yeah, and anything you read about it. No, Jake, sorry.
So good. The last episode, one of the fucking most awesome lightsaber battles out of this whole thing. It was insane.
They're all lesbians, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, that makes
well. I'll say I know the showrunner, whoever she's a lesbian.
I might watch it then.
And that's great. Everybody creams all over Rogue One. And
Rogue One is a fucking.
I thought it was a decent movie.
Rogue One is way better than anything that came after.
I like Force Awakens better than Rogue One.
Oh, Jessica.
But
no
Rogue
more
One,
shout outs for you. Your dad should have hit you at 2 plates.
Everybody creams over Rogue One. It's a good movie. It's a good, fun Star Wars spin-off movie.
It's a great
But there are some long stretches. And yeah, I miss
an original movie.
You already
think
know
The Last
what's
Jedi is
happening.
okay, so I don't.
I do.
I don't take your opinion for nothing.
Well, the best parts of Rogue One are, like with Vader and some of that rehashes. Now,
those characters in Rogue One are heroic, unlike Luke, a little bitch that lives on a mountain and can't be bothered. Sorry, Jess.
I do like the character. I will say I do enjoy the characters and most of the story of Rogue One.
And they tell that prequel in one movie.
I'm just not going to cream over it. Yeah, well, because it's a spinoff. It's not part of the saga.
Yes, it is. That's how they learned about the Death Star.
That's how they got the Death Star plans, and it ends.
Yeah.
Well, so is the holiday
here's something
special.
for you to think about.
It is.
Rogue One's story was wrote a long time ago, like right around the same time as A New Hope. So guess what? They didn't need to fucking do much. The movie, while it may be good, is pointless. You already knew what was happening.
But you didn't know how they
that's like saying tomorrow I'm going to walk 6 blocks down the street, and then you go out and you film yourself walking 6 blocks down the street and you show it to the person you told the day before. They already knew you were going to do it. So
same thing. No.
You pissed Orc off.
He's black again.
Jesus, Dan. Rogue One is when Ghost realized he didn't care.
Man, what you saying to me?
And avoided ever since. Liberation. I wouldn't quite go that far, Ghost. Again, I like Rogue One. I think it's a cool Star Wars spin-off movie. But it did, signal like, oh no, Disney is going to overdo this shit.
I don't know why, but I don't know
every
why
year.
we didn't think that. It's fucking Disney. Of course, they were going to do this to begin
Well, they had to get their $4.2 billion back.
I mean,
thank God they didn't make a fifth Indiana Jones movie.
Oh my God! Now that, oh my God, that makes this any
look
Star
great.
Wars movie look good.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit, did that suck, asshole? Jesus Christ!
I really wanted to enjoy that, and
Let's go back in time.
No. Worst episode ever.
Yes. There is that. That made me ashamed to wear a hat. That's how bad that was.
the South Park episode where George Lucas and fucking Steven Spielberg, they're raping Indy.
On the pinball machine from the
Yeah.
accused.
Yeah.
That wasn't anything they were. Yeah. I know everybody after Kingdom of Crystal Skull said it, but I think that was the huge problem right there too. You got rid of George Lucas's opinion, and then Spielberg didn't direct it, and it was a mess from then on.
Yeah. Yep. No. Sometimes you just gotta. I mean, Ghost just said just wasn't interested any longer. I think that's kind of where people are with a lot of these franchises. Maybe some are over exaggerated at how bad they are, and that's true in some cases. But it hasn't been great, and people just don't care anymore. That's the case with Doctor Who right now. That's the case. Star Wars is getting there fast if it's not completely
I'm
there.
sorry, but imagine calling yourself a Doctor Who fan.
I like Doctor Who,
Is there anything gayer than that? Okay.
Damn.
Who's gonna play the next Doctor? Well, who gives a fuck? How about that?
Doctor Who gives a fuck.
Orc just hates the Brits, I guess.
I've never watched it, so I can't make an opinion. It's never sounded interesting.
Orc, that should be the show you do. Doctor Who gives a fuck. And you just go through and you tear apart the Doctor Who episodes one by one.
Orc's in the TARDIS. He doesn't care about helping anybody. Just you're on your own, dude.
Orc, I got some ideas. We'll talk after.
All right, we will.
Dingo Dango, you must have wonder if you're still around.
But Doctor Who sucks now. It used to be really fucking good. So.
Didn't Doctor Who, isn't that now a Disney show?
I've bowed out, but no, they're not Disney. They're still BBC. Not that BBC.
I was just gonna say, Dan, the way you've been
BBC original or BBC America? What are we talking about here?
It is on both of those.
I thought it was PBS there. I remember
back in the day
on PBS.
Yeah, back in the day, that's how we got it. But yeah, everything was good. Was really good through Capaldi. Not that anybody knows what I'm talking about. But.
No, Zombie says yes, it's Disney.
I thought so. I thought I saw an advertisement for that on Disney Plus.
Doctor Who?
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Disney presents Doctor Who.
Well, it's dead.
Animated.
Oh boy. Gosh, later.
All right, so we still have one more Star Wars movie to talk about.
Oh, yes, we do. Just avoiding it.
It is. This is, but I have a feeling there's going to be some different opinions.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, Jess Graham.
Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. We thought this was going to be our hope. And see, to me,
it looks photoshopped.
I think it's damn it, Kory. I think this is kind of one of the weaker posters. I'm glad they have Lando in there, and they include what they need to include. The droids.
You didn't show the China poster with all the minorities edited out of it.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's a thing.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah.
That is pretty sad.
I forget the character's name, but yeah.
Finn?
At least one of them. Finn. No, not Finn. Why am I spacing on the name?
The new lady?
No. The guy that they kind of just stop using after Force Awakens. I'm just forgetting the character name. Had the looked like he was going to have the romance with Rey.
Finn?
Finn.
Is that Finn? Okay,
Yeah, that's
my bad.
Finn.
Yeah. Yeah, they took him off the poster.
That's awful. This worst episode ever. There are some good things in it, some cool things, but all in all, it is such a broken movie. And this is where I think the Mary Sues are, if you will, not Rey, but there's these added on characters that really don't fit into the story. Kerry Russell's character, like, to me, there's a good point going back to put in Mara Jade. I would have loved to see Mara Jade in here with her purple lightsaber, bringing her in, but instead they create some of these new characters that just really, they don't mix into the storyline. Huge positive. Finally, we have Lando back. Billy D. And he does, the true Two-Face, I guess. And he does well. It's the part fits. I was hoping to see him sooner in this trilogy, but we get what we can at this point. But I was very thankful he was back. There was, again, some cool scenes. I think the C-3PO kind of doing the red eye thing was cool. I don't know if you get too deep into that, if people hate it, but it had its moments, but by far the weakest of the entire saga. And sadly, we had to go out on The Rise of Skywalker. I'm not sure the title out of all of them.
None of the titles fit with the movies.
Well, they do, but
I mean, the first few did. Kind of.
No. I mean, on the in this trilogy, the titles.
Yeah. Okay.
They fit on all the other ones, but not these three.
It's honestly the silly things that irk me. Oh, go ahead, Jake. This is on this.
I'd say the second one, Last Jedi, fits because they're going to find Luke, the literal Last Jedi. So, but
he's not. Rey already knows how to be a Jedi.
But she's not.
She knows everything. Ask her. She'll show you.
God.
He trained her. And then by the end of the movie, Luke changed and he's like, I will not be the last Jedi. Dun, dun, dun.
He trained
Jedi Jesus.
I think.
Well, and I hated that too. The whole again, she should have had an actual heritage direct line to the original characters somewhere.
Well,
and the end scene, the yellow fucking lightsaber. I know the expanded universe, Connor, if you're still out there, has all these other goofy colors, but it's Jedis are blue or green with a very rare purple. If your Kyber crystals, combined, like Mace Windu, Mara Jade had purples, great. But the yellow lightsaber should have never been introduced in these movies. Rey should have had a purple saber at the end. I know it's a stupid argument to have, but that irritated me major. So some of these silly things irritate me more than what you guys are even saying.
That's not even. I'm fine with that. I'm gonna bury these lightsabers and I'm Rey Skywalker now. Like, that's fucking stupid.
I agree. I didn't like it. She either should have been a Skywalker or not.
I'm a Skywalker too, because we can just say that.
No, Jake, you're a Daywalker.
Well, Jess is claiming to be a Skywalker, so
you made me put this up there, Kory.
Skywalker.
I knew we were going to get to that too. It's jumbled. I think that they did panic. They brought JJ back to try to fix Last Jedi. I don't think they should have tried to fix it in the way they did. I was fine with them saying, it was a trick, saying she was a nobody. But I just don't like her being the granddaughter of Palpatine. I don't,
It's the same fucking shit. It's like they only have one story to tell. This is I am your father.
Okay, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but the biggest argument, everybody was crying during the prequels. And so the smart move was to try to
do the same old shit.
Bring back the original trilogy vibe. And that's why I think Force Awakens was really good. We just didn't get to go on with and develop into something new.
You know what I think they are going to do? They're gonna totally retcon everything after Return of the Jedi. They're just gonna erase it all, and they're gonna try and throw another Hail Mary with a Luke Skywalker type story. That's what they'll end up doing.
They're not going to erase it. You have to accept it, Dan. We don't
they
have
erased
another
a lot of shit now.
We won't have another opportunity. These are core movies, though. These are canon movies. We won't have another opportunity with the original cast, obviously.
Well, my thing about that, though, is Laurie Strode died in Halloween Resurrection. Yet that we just forgot about it.
This is not the same. Not even close.
You can't do that to Star Wars.
You can't do that with this.
I really could see them doing it. Because it's just so dead right now. Now that's not the right move. The right move would be, let's wait a little bit and not do anything, make people hungry again, and tell an original story that doesn't involve anybody. All this shit can exist. That's fine. But just jump into
TV shows. But we need some familiarity. This is where I argue biggest in the community when they say, well, there's nothing new under the sun. Nobody makes anything new. They rehash. Great. Put something new to it. But we all seek the familiar. Or we wouldn't be going back to another Star Wars movie, or we wouldn't be going back to another Halloween movie.
There's a lot of original stuff out there that is new, but I don't know. That's just my take on it. I mean, if they keep grinding it into the ground, everything dies. I was a big Doctor Who fan. Doctor Who is dead. Like, it's dead for many, many years. There's other things. Star Trek on the verge of being dead. I think Picard ended well. But that's what Star Wars has to do. You need to create compelling new characters that the next generation is going to have that same feeling about. And I know that's harder nowadays because you're competing with a million different things. But that's the direction, in my opinion. I don't know, but I think they will just retcon it and do another Luke Skywalker story, or find like some bit of time where they can tell another prequel. It
won't be Luke; it'll be Lily.
Maybe
Lily Skywalker.
I still like my Michael Berryman idea personally, but that would be the way to revive it.
Jake, you think this movie's better than The Last Jedi, don't you?
Yes. I do. This is... I don't like... This was definitely... They saw all the backlash from The Last Jedi. And we're like, well, we got to fix all this. But I still think it's a better movie than The Last Jedi. Because Last Jedi... The reason we got this movie we did is because of The Last Jedi. So
yes.
I can't fault that. I fault The Last Jedi as being the worst. And it still did some okay things. I don't think the lights, was it Kylo and Rey on that fucking, I don't know what it was. They were just in the water on that ship or whatever it was. That was cool.
There were better backdrops for lightsaber fights.
Yeah, it looks good. The whole Palpatine, it's fine. It's whatever. But, like, I don't understand why he was just, like, laying in wait the whole time. Why wouldn't he just, like, draw his granddaughter to the dark side? I didn't get it. That didn't really make much sense, but...
Well, because it was a panic. They brought him back in a panic.
I feel like they could have fixed it easier without having to bring him back.
I mean, he was fucking dead. It's slowly.
I am perfectly fine with them bringing him back under better circumstances.
You did make a point that in the prequel trilogy, he was the one talking about learning how to keep people from dying, keep himself from dying. So that part, but I just, the reason they brought him back, I don't like the connection with Rey. That stupid. They could have done this better. And that way you said, Jake.
They could have, but then again, you like kind of had to bring him back because you killed Snoke in Last Jedi, and you got to explain this somehow. So, like, I don't know what you could have done, really. This is the movie you got because of that.
They didn't have a plan. Make a plan, map it all out, and execute the plan. I don't think that these last three were ever going to be on par with the original trilogy, but you could have salvaged it. I mean, Force Awakens, again, not great, but the same thing with Halloween, the first one in the last trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay, not perfect, but you could go from there and really kick ass in 2 and 3, but they didn't.
But they didn't. The Rise of Skywalker is the Halloween ends of this franchise. Is that what you're saying? I agree.
I would say kills or ends. The suck is about the same.
Oh, Kills was fun, but this isn't a Halloween episode now, is it?
No. Well, you know what would be fun is Michael Berryman as the incestuous bastard of Luke and Leia.
I still think I would like to see what this trilogy was supposed to be, because it was mapped out to some degree, and Ryan Johnson said, "Nah, fuck, I ain't doing that shit." And then Disney was like, "Oh, just do whatever. That's cool. Do whatever you want." And that he did, and he royally fucked it all up.
As much as I didn't hate Last Jedi, I would be fine with what you're saying if they hadn't hired him. I would have liked a scene where the original plan was to go. Colin Trevorrow, the Jurassic World director, was supposed to do the final one, and he couldn't, I don't think, agree with where they went with it with Kathleen Kennedy and Ryan Johnson. I think he was originally on board with completing the trilogy as they kind of discussed the original outline. And he had a cool concept, I guess. Duel of Fates was going to be like the script. His script was called Duel of Fates as the byline.
Kathleen Kennedy is the perfect example of knowing the right people and how far that can take a mediocre person.
They should have.
Frank Marshall, great producer, all right director himself. I mean, again, I thought I gave her a lot. I thought we were in good hands when we got her. She had been along the ride with George Lucas, Spielberg, and she had produced, been producing for decades. Great films that we love.
Started out as a secretary, right, for Spielberg?
You got to start somewhere, but yeah. Look at Rachel
so this
Talalay.
was her revenge on him. Okay.
It must be.
All those years she had to go get him coffee and well, fuck that. I'm gonna screw up your franchise.
Steven, your penis better not be out again.
I just don't understand, especially someone like her has been around for so long. This being what it is, Star Wars. This ain't, say whatever you want. This ain't your Halloween. I wouldn't even go as far as say this ain't Indiana. This is fucking Star Wars. Hire somebody, whoever you're taking pitches from, right? I would assume that you would take pitches for a new trilogy from people, and then you pick that, and then you say, all right, here's your contract, and you are to write and or direct all 3 of these movies, and there's no way you can get out of this without paying us an exorbitant amount of money or whatever, but you're locked into these 3 movies. That's what should have happened.
Yeah, that's basically the way old Hollywood was.
Yeah.
You were contracted to the studio, so, and you did what they told you to do.
Well, that's what it should have been with these 3 movies. That's how they should have done it.
What you're paying, I'm like okay with the slave labor on that one. Like, yeah, you got to do 3 Star Wars movies, and we'll pay you like $100 million. Boo fucking who? Just do it. and shut up and enjoy it. And make Michael Berryman the incestuous bastard of Lucian Leia.
Orc, you got any thoughts on Rise of Skywalker, Sky Prancer, whatever?
It was a mess, but I enjoyed it. It was a good theater experience before everything went to hell in 2020. Yeah, it's actually the last thing I saw in the theater for like 2 or 3 years.
I think me too, or the last thing before COVID, I ended up going back to the theater. I want to say by Godzilla versus Kong, but I can't remember exactly what movie it was.
Yeah, I can't remember the first movie I saw after COVID, but it was a while. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. With you, The Rise of Skywalker was my last one before that.
Something funny, I just realized I was too young to see the original trilogy in theaters, but I seen episode 1 and episode 3 in theaters, and I seen The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker in theaters. So I seen the first and last of the prequel and sequel trilogies in theaters, but missed the second one.
I believe I've seen every single one in theaters. Not, when they came out for the originals, obviously, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, I take that back because that animated Attack of the Clones thing I didn't see. So
the re-releases with the new scenes added in, that was like 97, 98, right? It was before Phantom Menace, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
Yeah.
It wasn't that around the same time, kind of right before, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was right before, yeah, because I had seen the original 3 movies, but not with the extra shit added in that would, eventually fuck everything up and make all the fans angry. But yeah.
Why can't we get Jabba smashing if you're gonna add new stuff in? It's what everybody wants to see.
Ghost says he saw Empire and Return in the theater original releases. Nah. I am a bit jealous of that. I was alive, but I was a wee lad. I would have been 2 during Return of the Jedi.
Oh, and I didn't see Solo.
2 and 3.
I take that back. Solo, I didn't bother.
Oh, what? Like Jake said earlier, what an unnecessary fucking movie. Nobody wanted that movie. No matter how good. I've watched it a couple times. Surprisingly,
they had to reshoot the whole thing because the actor sucked so hard.
Not just the actor. They said the director. Just the direction it was going. I don't know.
Yeah,
Donald Glover did a good job as a young Lando, but believing it all, we didn't need a young Harrison. We already had a young Harrison in the original trilogy. We didn't need to.
Who also wouldn't have been really heroic at that point. Like Solo just. That's one of those ones, like, it doesn't feel like it should have existed.
No, we didn't need it.
Yeah.
We didn't need it. So lucky you. All right, we're anybody else on a final thoughts of the Rise of Sky? Who's cooking something? Oh, it's Jake. I'm getting hungry too. Who was talking
Hot Pockets?
Who are you gonna pick? Was that how it went? Hot Pockets.
They're breathtaking.
Childhood obesity. Hot Pockets.
I don't have my feet anymore. Hot Pockets. I just killed Orc. Orc's gonna die.
I'm actually surprised we got through these 9 movies with around 3 hours. I really am.
Glad we did.
I'm sure glad we did. Yeah, I did. I kind of am too.
We're all kind of like Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now when we got to the last 3. I've always been here.
Well, we discussed this kind of at the beginning before we went on, and what order should we do them? We do most of our franchises in release order. And argue with me, Kory might. I think this was the best way to do it tonight, and I think that's the best way if you've never watched these films is to watch them in release order.
No.
No.
Oh, really, Jake? You don't?
I agree with Jess.
Thank you, Work.
I think you need to watch through numbered 1 through 9. I would even go as far, if you like it, I would say throw in Rogue One in between 4 and 5.
Well, if
Like
you like
watching
it, you
Silent
might as
Night,
well
Deadly
throw
Night
in the
2.
holiday special, the 2 Ewok movies. Go ahead and start these series.
I probably rank those silly Ewok movies above the last trilogy, and that's not even me being funny.
Battle for Endor is kind of a cool movie.
Yeah, they're
for the longest time they
movie.
were our sequel trilogy.
Yeah, that's all you had for sure. But Rogue One is better than anything that came after Return of the Jedi as far as Star Wars goes.
I disagree. I like Force Awakens better. We've talked about it, but
not even close, Jess Graham.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone is one.
Is that how that goes?
No, I don't know. It works though. Rogue One is between 3 and 4. Yes. Well, it's literally right before 4. It's around the same, same year, same month as 4.
All right. So you ready for me to piss everybody off?
You doing your what ranking, or you got something before that even?
I'm going to do my ranking.
Okay.
Yes.
I would have to say Empire's number 1, Revenge or Episode 3's number 2, Return of the Jedi's 3, New Hope, Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, and then the last 3.
In what order are the last 3?
They're just one big fucking hot mess.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah. They're involved in a circle jerk like 5 miles behind everything else.
Kory 5, 3, 6, 4, 2, 1, 7, 8, 9. Well, mine is Empire, A New Hope. I used to go back and forth and think Return of the Jedi was slightly better, but it's A New Hope, then Return of the Jedi, then Revenge of the Sith, then Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. So 5, 4, 6, 3, 1, 2, 7, 8, 9.
So you actually you defended the sequel trilogy, but still put them behind the first 6 movies.
I never argue that it wasn't the weakest trilogy and the weakest movies out of all 9. Yeah, I like both the original and the prequels more than I do that. But I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people did with the sequels. That's all I'm saying.
I just have so many issues with this, the things that they added in the stories that had to do with previous stuff.
And I'm not arguing some of these things that didn't make me cringe either. But all in all, I had to just kind of throw my hands up in the air and try to at least enjoy some of the ride, because I got Han Solo back, which to me didn't disappoint. When him and Chewie came on the Millennium Falcon in Episode 7, and Chewie were home, the fucking audience applauded and roared. When Carrie Fisher first came on, she got a welcome applause. So there were good things that happened that I don't think any other way we would have gotten this. We almost didn't, and I'm not sorry we did get it, like some people are. I'm glad I got to see him one last time as Han Solo. I think Harrison felt more like an older Han Solo than when he did coming back as an older Indiana Jones, even in Kingdom of Crystal Skull.
Where he took the nuclear.
An underrated movie, and one day it would be appreciated. But you just there's just no way I can defend any of those movies. They're bad.
Let's take a nuclear bomb and I hide from it in a fridge.
Oh, come on. Yeah, we nuked the fridge.
Sucked. But better than the last one. Probably.
Better than Dial of Destiny.
Yes. Dial of Dysentery. Ugh.
All right. Orc, do you have a ranking?
Yeah, I do. I made one at the beginning of the show real fast.
Excellent.
I didn't know where the hell we were, so
I
was
had to
like,
just
what
write mine
movie?
down.
All right, from best to worst. Some of these can flip flop, but here we go. 6, 4, 5, 1, 3, 9, 7, 2, 8.
Okay.
Do you say 193 or 3?
Hang on. 6, 4, 5, 1, 3, 9, 7, 2, 8.
Ooh, you liked Phantom Menace better than Revenge of the Sith, huh?
Yep, it barely edges it out, but I know Revenge is a way better movie.
It's a more important movie.
And I can't believe you let Rise of Skywalker. That must have been a pretty fun theater experience for you then.
Yeah, it was. It was my last one for like 2 years, man.
Rank that one better than Attack of the Clones. That was a surprise. But cool enough. Movies are subjective, everybody. Our arguments are fun.
All right, me next?
Yes, sir.
All right, best to worst. Number 1, The Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, A New Hope. Number 3, Return of the Jedi. Number 4, Revenge of the Sith. Number 5, The Phantom Menace, racism and all. Number 6, and this is where it gets rough. Number 6, Attack of the Clones. Number 7, The Force Awakens. Number 8, The Last Jedi. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And number 9, Rise of Skywalker. Basically, 6 to 9 are all dog shit.
When Dan says, and this is where it gets rough, you know he fucking hates something with a passion.
Dan, I think ours is exactly lined up. With the exception, I wouldn't say 6 through 9 are dog shit. But
oh, yeah, no, they're dog shit for sure.
I think we both had 5, 4, 6, 3, 1, 2, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. Empire was like an easy decision. I will say Rogue One would have charted high.
I
don't know where I would have put Solo. It would have been near the.
You can stuff Solo in a sack.
And I never saw that Attack of the Clones movie, which was really just like episodes cobbled together, right? So it almost feels like.
Oh, you mean the Clone Wars cartoon movie?
The movie that was in theaters. Yeah. So I don't know where that would have.
It's a decent series, but I don't. The movie's just okay. Yeah.
The only thing I'm going to say about Solo is not my tribal chief.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a Jacob Fatu guy.
Jacob.
Sorry, Jess. That reference just
it went over my head.
Right over your head.
I'm glad you saw that. I was just going to move along.
They committed a hate crime against the wise man on SmackDown.
So, Jake, I am curious to hear yours now.
I'm going to go from worst to best.
Oh, worst to best? Okay.
Worst to best, yeah. So, Last Jedi, Rise of the Skywalker, Attack of the Clone.
What?
Force Awakens.
Wow.
Where is it? Force Awakens. Then we have Phantom Menace, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Empire, and then Revenge of the Sith.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
You yelled at him, but you didn't yell at Orc. Orc had Attack of the Clones really low as well, I think.
Yeah, but I feel bad for Orc.
Thank you. I'm mentally challenged. I appreciate that, Kory.
I expect more from Jake.
I wrote
but then he turned around.
Yeah.
Like, the one I thought that everybody's going to be like, Kory, your number 2's too high. That's his favorite. So,
yeah.
I kind of take back the what, because.
Yeah, I thought, you were a Star Wars fan, Jake, but you can mail in your card. To do the reverse order, this is what he's trying to say out there, folks. For a little slow, I wrote this backwards: 3, 5, 6, 4, 1, 7, 2, 9, 8. He's got the wrong worst movie in there. He's got the wrong best movie in there in his spot. Just like Orc, he had episode 2 ranked entirely too low. Though I will give you, it's the weakest of the prequel trilogy in my opinion. And yeah, I can see. I'm glad you appreciate a bit of The Force Awakens.
I do.
So that's cool. And yeah, 6 is Return of the Jedi, guys. I don't know what Dan was thinking when he said 6 was crap, but
no, that's my third.
Okay. I know, but you said like 6 through 9. It just sucks.
Oh, no. I mean, my list 6 through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Sorry, that was confusing. No.
So basically, you go beyond the original trilogy with you.
Yeah, the crap Attack of the Clones, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. That's all garbage. Yeah, sorry. I didn't understand the question.
It's okay.
Zombie. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun, guys, and I can't thank you enough for doing this. And if there's any final thoughts that's slipping in, just interrupt me and tell us now on the whole Star Wars saga. Kory, should we take her around?
Yeah.
Orc, you just did a video on your channel, right?
Oh,
yeah. It was basically what I want to do for the rest of this year and the rest of summer.
Drop that.
And then asking anyone who watches it what their plans are and all that stuff. Basically, just a quick video that I thought I'd make because it had been a while since I uploaded. I want to say the horror rumbles were a lot of fun, good times, but I think that you guys are branching out like other YouTubers. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of good episodes of these to come, I think. So thanks for having me on here, by the way.
Thank you so much for coming, and you'll be back, I hope. And if you haven't, go check out Orc 145626, and I'll have the links down in the description below.
Yes.
So you can go to all their channels. And
All right.
Daniel Schein.
Dan?
Oh, I'm just going clockwise. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're fine.
Kathleen Kennedy can eat my ass. And follow Flesh Wound Features on YouTube.
Flesh Wound Features, lots of great content over there.
Oh,
so
and Dead End Drive-In, there's a new episode, a Sasquatch special on the Visited by Voices network. So check that episode out. There's actually location footage that Dirk took that's really fucking cool.
Dirk Diggler?
That might be his last name.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I didn't catch the Dan is Flesh Wound having a good show tonight.
I don't think anything's dropping tonight, but
they're having a show tonight. Where did I get the good in there? It's always good over at Flesh Wound. Work always awesome.
Thank you, Zombie, and thanks to everyone who gave me a shout out in the chat, who I see in all the other chats that are in the horror community and movie community. So, yep, cheers. Happy July, America.
America.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Jake?
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Fuck yeah.
Slaughterport channel. What's going on? He's frozen, I think.
Nothing.
When are we going to make Jess watch the Nightmare on Elm Street remake? His favorite Nightmare movie.
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out soon.
Hoping for that.
I got my internet.
Then making
shit. Figure it out first. It's been bad lately.
I hear that. I have issues off and on. Not just with my internet. Yeah, we need to do that and Freddy versus Jason. And he says there's nothing, but there's been some great stuff over on his channel recently. If you want to get personal about Kory and I, he did an interview with us. He had the Diane Sawyer exclusive.
That is
So Slaughterport, check it out. He also got some great series, great video hauls. So hopefully you'll keep it going. Give us more.
we'll see.
And Kory Ray, what do we got?
It's Darth Kory. Thank
It's
you.
Kory Ray Sky. It should have been Kory Ray Skywalker, but anyway.
No, it shouldn't have been. Next month we are we'll switching back to the Horror Rumble next month. I don't know what we're doing.
Is it at a trivia night with the big group?
Yeah, I think it is. We got to find Dan's next challenger.
Which unfortunately means if it is the group trivia night, since Dan is the reigning champion for this past season.
Are we doing the teams?
Teams?
Yeah, we
No,
talked about that. I thought that might be kind of interesting to have teams battling it out. Because I think that opens it up more. Nobody has an advantage.
We could consider that. That is not the plan for next month, but you need to remind us of that. We might have to change the format for next season.
Yeah,
but we're usually looking for an individual challenger to go one-on-one against last season's.
Yeah. You could do that through like just everybody create a group chat. Somebody's got to give the final answer sort of deal. I can kind of see you making that work.
Okay. We'll definitely think about that and look into it. Because a team game could be fun. Maybe we need a new game show on the channel, Kory.
Maybe.
Family
Feud. Yeah, and then we're hoping to have at least some sort of, I say this every time, summer special coming up, and then by fall we'll be back. With
welcome back, Jonathan.
Kory's Dead Times Gories. I know, just as I'm saying we'll be back, Jonathan comes back. Check out Bombastic Reviews. He's been doing some video game.
Say his name and he appears.
He does.
Killer Clowns was what you've been playing lately?
It's pretty fun.
You got to record that Joe Hendry entrance, though. You got to
Right?
sit and just do it.
Well, thank you again. Yeah. Zombie loves you.
Bombastic is back.
You can check out all their links down below. So in a couple months, I believe in in August, we'll be back with The Rumble with a new, different genre aside from horror franchise or topic.
Yeah, are we doing Rocky?
You keep saying this to me, but I don't know.
It's got to be a Stallone franchise. Come on.
God.
Rocky.
We'll talk about this. Yeah. So thank you guys again. Until next time, Kory, you got anything else?
Have fun. Watch movies.